your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Yes. We have made it to Friday, and what a Friday. What a week it has been. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, take me up to 2 p.m. And I want to start here. Obviously, we are going to get into plenty of De'Aaron Fox talk, but, I try to keep things close to the vest, no pun intended. When I hear things, a lot of people are hearing a lot of things right now. And I'm not one to run and say every single thing that I'm hearing, because a lot of things can change. And, this is like a game of telephone right now. And different people have sources and different people have relationships that have been a part of Sacramento Kings and the front office and the ownership for years and years and years before I was even a thought out here in Sacramento. But I know some people too. And what I'm hearing, and again, this is a situation where it is very fluid, which is a term that we are all used to in the current world that we're living in. And as of right now, there's good news if you want De'Aaron Fox to stay in a Kings uniform, at least until the end of the season. Right now, there is momentum towards holding on to De'Aaron and going back to where this all started, getting him that wing that can bolster the bench and give some much needed support to the team so they can make a push to hopefully get out of the play-in. So what does that also mean? That means that this game tomorrow night now really matters, because if it seemed like, now again, this is why I'm very careful when I say stuff like this, because things can change very quickly. But as of right now, this is what things feel like, right? So with that being said, as of 10:03, based on what I'm hearing, it looks like things are moving in the direction of, let's go get that wing, which we probably need anyway, see what we can do with De'Aaron. We'll address all this in the offseason, which is how really it was always supposed to be. I think that's how it was always supposed to go down. So again, no promises. Doesn't mean that De'Aaron's going to stay. Doesn't mean that De'Aaron's not going to get moved. As of right now, I'm hearing the momentum is towards getting through the trade deadline, because this is going to be a very unique situation, right? It's you got to find the Stephon Castles of the world, and do the Spurs want to move off that? If it took this long to cook up a trade for a bench piece, how are you going to find a trade that's not going to make you look crazy for your or one of your franchise pieces? So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And we'll replay some of the sound from Bobby Marks before the show is done, probably in that 12 o'clock hour, who was on with the morning show. But if you're just now joining us, tomorrow matters. And tomorrow matters because there is a conversation being had as far as, you know what? Maybe this thing escalated too quickly. Let's go ahead, get through this season, get you the help, see if we can salvage this in any way, and move on. I know Kyle Draper spoke about, and there was a report, and you don't know who's real, who's not these days, especially when it comes to Elon's Twitter. But there was a report that Vivek is going to be in Oklahoma City, and whether or not he was going to meet with De'Aaron. Maybe that happens. I don't know. Maybe that's the direction this thing is going. All I know is from what I'm hearing, there is momentum towards not making that rash decision, sticking with De'Aaron, getting him that help, hopefully not overpaying, because we know that was one of the issues, which means that this game tomorrow night matters, which means that they are not selling this season, which means they are trying to get back to where they were a couple weeks ago when Doug Christie had them on top of the roof looking at the beam, and they had a 7-game winning streak Doug Christie's still 11-4, still a great record. So that is the newest information that I have out of Sacramento. Now, yes, we're going to talk about the national news and what Jake Fisher had to say and what Brian Windhorst had to say, but this is coming out of Sacramento, that the momentum is moving towards holding on to De'Aaron Fox, getting through this season. And I always thought this was the best thing, right? Because you still have opportunities to win basketball games. This whole thing isn't done yet. If you have some fairy tale season, it could be salvaged. You could save all this. But you don't get that opportunity if you move off De'Aaron. And from what we're reading, some of these hauls and some of these calls, it's a dozen teams calling for De'Aaron, but there are not a lot of Godfather offers right now. Stephon Castle, again, yes, top 5 pick in the draft. It was supposed to be a really bad draft, and they don't even want to move on from him, the Spurs. So that was the holdup. Was there a conversation, the Spurs saying, you know what? We don't want to move on from Stephon Castle right now. And teams more willing to take chances in the offseason and seeing this. If you're the Spurs, unless you think somebody else is highly motivated to move in there, I don't think you're adding De'Aaron to necessarily have that first playoff run. This has been sold to us and marketed to us. Well, if you get De'Aaron now, you can get 2 runs with him. You get this run right now, you get the next run. If the Spurs don't necessarily feel like this is a real run and they don't want to make a rash decision on their end, this is why, part of the reason why I'm just thinking this thing is moving in a certain direction. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationships are being mended yet, but time heals all wounds, or time heals most of them, as they say. So, like I said, you're just now joining us. Thank you for joining the Allen Stiles Show. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for us today. We got you for 4 hours. The newest news that I'm hearing out of Sacramento is that as of right now, anything can change, but as of right now, they are leaning towards getting through this season, sticking to the original plan of getting that wing, that bench help that the Kings need so very much when it's a bench that can't even beat the 76ers bench. And look, the starters, they have some culpability in that game, a lot of culpability in that game as well. But if your bench is losing to the Sixers bench, who they're actually starting a lot of their bench players, so the Sixers bench, actually a bunch of dudes that are bouncing around the league, that's a problem. So get the bench better, try to go on a run. Maybe this thing is still cooked, but at least they can have a better end to this situation, and you don't lose him quickly. You don't lose him for less than maybe he's worth. So we will continue to break that down, but I just got that information right before the show, so I wanted to tell the show what was going on and let everybody know what I was hearing, because on our actual rundown, I have Sabonis getting snubbed again. Domantas Sabonis, as he leads the league in rebounds and everything that he's been doing, snubbed again. And we know who it was. It was Alperen Şengün. The goalposts, they've been moved, but they kind of haven't been moved. If you perform and you're a top 3 seed, somebody's getting in. That's the bottom line. Somebody's getting in. That is, out of all the things you can be mad at with the NBA, it's hard for me to be upset with trying to reward. Now, I get it if there's no standout, but it's hard for me to be upset with the league trying to reward success. And they are trying to prove to us that the regular season matters over and over again. So it's hard for me to be upset. I think that Domantas Sabonis is having a better season, don't get me wrong. But it is hard for me to be upset with a league that is at the very least trying to reward winning. Unfortunately, it is at the expense of Domantas Sabonis. And if you ask me, I definitely think everything that's going on, that doesn't mean he wasn't snubbed. It means that that's the decision that the voters made this go round, coaches, teams like that. And now you got to stand on what it is, right? And I think what a lot of Kings fans are upset about is things keep changing. The goalposts keep changing, and we understand that as well. Last season, they were a 5 seed, and at that time, Domantas Sabonis didn't get in. Now, again, I said top 3. So here are the reserves: Anthony Edwards, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Jaren Jackson Jr., Alperen Şengün, Jalen Williams, and Victor Wembanyama. And Victor Wembanyama, nobody's going to argue because of his crazy season. But yeah, I mean, what are they, the 11th seed right now? So Victor Wembanyama is the face. Obviously, he's having a ridiculous season. So that's your spot though, right? If there's no Victor Wembanyama, then obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but that spot goes to Domantas Sabonis. The one guy that is playing really well on a bad team, they're going to get that slot. So it's not even that I don't have beef with Victor Wembanyama getting in. It's just hard for me. I understand you guys are all doing the stat head-to-head, and Şengün's numbers are nowhere near Domantas Sabonis, but I'm struggling being upset with a league that's trying to reward winning. That's where I'm at. And all the other teams, they're ahead of the Sacramento Kings. So it's Wembanyama there. That's the spot where, hey, if you have a crazy enough season, even if your team's not winning, we'll get you in. But we can't do 2 of those. And I think that's ultimately what happened with Domantas Sabonis. And that might not be what a lot of Kings fans want to hear right now, but that's just my take on it, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just at some point the numbers should outweigh the winning for 1 or 2 of those guys, but all of this is just the underlying problem of the All-Star game needs to be 15 players on each roster. There's no reason it should be 12. It should be 15. If you got to 15, you could add Sabonis, you could add Kyrie Irving, and we'd have no problems at the end of this.
On the other side, Sam Amick had a lot to say. He put out an article. He was also on the NBA Daily podcast for The Athletic. We're talking Stephon Castle and the Kings and whether or not a deal will be made before that deadline. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead.
Get your Kings fix all season long right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came back to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double cheeky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. I'm sorry, I got thrown off. This 209, you got to reveal yourself if you're talking like this. So the 209, as we were talking All-Star, 209 says, Sabonis is boring. Nobody wants Frankenstein at All-Star weekend, ... No swag. He didn't make it because he can't jump onto a curb from the street. 209, there's no way you're a Kings fan, number one. And number two, it's not even about the game. All y'all complain about the game anyway. You think there's too much dunking and there's too many crazy threes. It's obviously not about watching the game because nobody watches that dang game.
I won't be.
It's about being named an all-star. It's very simple.
Because it helps your Hall of Fame cases and all sorts of stuff like that, which for Sabonis' sake, it's going to be fine. You know why? Because he's going to make All-NBA for the second year in a row, or third year in a row, but for the second year in a row, despite the fact that he wasn't named an all-star, which is funny. Also, to the texter's point, you know what I think of when I think of exciting highlight and faces of the NBA?
Şengün.
Alperen Şengün and Jaren Jackson Jr.
209, what is that? That's I know where that area is, right?
That's Stockton, Modesto.
So we got a Lakers fan in Stockton. That's how we're kicking this thing off.
Or Modesto. Come on, 209. We'll find you double agents one way or the other. Don't play with me on a Friday. Calling Sabonis Frankenstein. You better watch your mouth. I'm not playing. Kyle, I know some people want to defend Domantas Sabonis, so we're going to open up the phone lines. 916-339-1140. Reacting to the information that I got. And like I said, I gotta deal with every day. I'm gonna just peel back the curtain for y'all. So I gotta deal every day. I get off the show and I gotta take or I say something on social media, whatever the case is, and it's 18 different things have been said by 18 different people, and people are telling me and tagging me and saying this and saying that. Look, I'm not gonna speak on what other people are hearing. I'm not going to speak on sources. I will say this, though. At some point, y'all have to ask yourself, where is this information coming from? And who is it benefiting? I am not going to get in trouble here on a Friday. But nobody is asking, how is this stuff getting out? Even for me, even listening to me, how is this stuff getting out? Nobody is asking that question. It's just, hey, these people just have this information. But nobody is asking how, why, what's the context, what's the purpose? So just ask yourself that as this stuff continues to come out, specifically out of Sacramento. And like I said, from what I'm hearing, it's not revisionist, oh, this happened a year ago, whatever it is. All I'm hearing, if you're just now joining the show, is that momentum is moving towards holding on to De'Aaron, going back to the original plan, getting a wing, and seeing what happens this season. Does that mean that De'Aaron's going to stay and re-sign? I don't know. To be honest, what it sounds like to me, as Brett Siegel, who joined the show yesterday, go check that out on YouTube and the Sacktown Sports app. Brett Siegel, Kyle's handling the phone lines right now, so I don't want to get these teams wrong. The Timberwolves and the Raptors checked in on De'Aaron Fox. Now, why would you check in on De'Aaron Fox if you're not the Timberwolves per se, but the Toronto Raptors, right? What this tells me, based on the information that I was given this morning, what this tells me is that a lot of these teams, not all of them, I think the Spurs would make a move right now, but a lot of these teams are moving towards, hey, I just want to check in, right? If you're on LinkedIn, what does it say? Open for work? Or when you actually need a job, when LinkedIn says, are you looking for a job? Or are you open to other opportunities, right? I think these were a lot of these dozens of teams, they weren't calling to make a rash move before the trade deadline. I think a lot of these teams were calling in to say, just want to let you know, we will be putting our hat in. You ever go check out a house? I'm not ready to buy a house now, but we want to start seeing what that process would look like. I like how that house looks. Literally has never happened to me.
Well, you're a little young for that. I like how that house looks. We're not buying a house right now, but we will be. You start getting things in order. You reach out to the realtor, right? You reach out to your accountant. Hey, you got another one on the way. We're gonna have to expand. We need a bigger home. Not right now, but we're planning on doing some things within the next year or so. Phone lines are off the hook right now. 916 asks the question, did the team's dysfunction cost Domas? Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday on social media, 916. Also, something to remember is that this voting happened before the latest dysfunction, right? The voting happened and the dysfunction had happened as far as Mike Brown being fired and things like that, but not after or not during this latest dysfunction. But do I think it cost Domas? Yeah, I think that right now, everybody that is in, I'm looking, the Western Conference, we already know that they want to snub Sacramento, whatever you want to call it. We already know that happens. When you add on top of that a little bit, sprinkle a little dysfunction on it, sprinkle a little 10, 11 seed on it, yeah, they're not going to put Domantas Sabonis in. It was already going to be tough. It was tough for them to get in when they were the 3 seed. So it doesn't take much. So to answer your question, 916, yes, but I think it was going to be close either way. I think everything had to be perfect. I think if they had kept winning and maybe they're a 6 seed right now, I still think it might go to Şengün. I don't know, because to be a 2 seed and not have a representative, I think a lot of people would be upset about that too. And now, granted, nobody jumps off the screen for the Rockets, so I do think it cost Domantas Sabonis, but do I think if this was a perfect situation and they were the 6 seed, would he have got it for sure? I don't know, because it's Sacramento.
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded Western Conference of bigs, right? Mm-hmm. This is the other part that's now working against Sabonis. Why I think he's still going to get all NBA, but why there's a little bit of hesitancy. I think once the media gets involved, he'll get the recognition. But you're playing in a conference that has Jokic, Wemby, Anthony Davis, Şengün, Jaren Jackson Jr., and now Sabonis. There's so many bigs that if they're doing it positionally, I think you could have made a case for everyone being there, but you had to have some forwards. You had to have some guards make the team. I think that's why James Harden got the last spot over Domantas Sabonis, but people have been doing it all over social media, so I don't need to pile on. If you put the Sabonis numbers versus the Şengün and the Jaren Jackson numbers. Yeah, of course. And you could argue Jaren Jackson, what he brings on the defensive side of the ball is his most valuable ability, but I still think you could even make a case for him. Şengün's the one that I think most people are pointing to, how could you choose him over Sabonis other than the winning? But you could make a case for Sabonis over Jaren Jackson too. Yeah, so it's tough sledding. I honestly don't know which one burns more. I feel like I'm leaning towards last season burning more, because you were the 5 seed. There was still hope for the season. I think there's so much drama going on with the Kings that this is a perfect time to snub Sabonis, because it's not an afterthought, but all right, just throw it on to this crazy season anyway. But also the one that hurt last year is really, Karl? Yes. You're going to go with Karl? Yes. And again, I know that it was more egregious last year than this year, even though Sabonis' numbers are better because the team isn't as good. And again, it's Karl. Yeah. I know the Timberwolves had the 1 seed at that point in the season last year. And they got 2 in, right? Because they got Ann in too. Exactly. And they just gave the 1 seed 2 people, which is fine. But I've also seen Nuggets people complaining, how can you give Jalen Williams an all-star before Jamal Murray? And it's a false equivalency, but still, I understand everyone's going to be upset when their guys don't get it. It's just Sacramento. I know Trae Young is also a pretty bad snub, but the Sabonis is probably at the top of the list. Everyone agrees it's kind of crazy that Sabonis didn't get it. Yeah, and it's funny because what people are trying to say, I saw it on I think it was NBA Today, they were talking about Trae Young, do your stats help winning? Right now, the Hawks are the 9 seed. He's leading the NBA in assists, but are you out here just hunting? Right. And obviously we're not as close with the Eastern Conference as we are the Western Conference, but I don't like Domantas Sabonis getting lumped into that, because there is no stat padding. This ain't Russell Westbrook, where Steven Adams was avoiding rebounds for Russell Westbrook to average a triple-double. Domantas Sabonis, everything he does is very much needed. Like I said, he took 6 shots against the Sixers a couple nights ago, the G League Sixers, besides Tyrese Maxey, and they lost the game. So everything that he does is much
Much needed. Lewis, Casey, Jay, Mitch, we got you on the other side. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
With NBA League Pass, you can keep up with the whole league.
Wait, is this for real?
For real.
So I can choose from so many live games?
Yeah, up to 4 with multi-view.
And watch my favorite players dunk?
From every angle, home or away.
Wow, unbelievable.
Believe it, kid. With NBA League Pass, it's all possible. NBA League Pass, your home for streaming hoops.
Only select out-of-market games available and local blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Happy New Grill. Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Give your family a real treat as we did on Christmas Eve. Bring out all the flavors of the new year with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Complete with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Whitey and Napoleon Grills wish you Happy New Year. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Let's get to these phone lines. We still have the Sam Amick. And, right now, you almost have to say stuff as soon as possible when it drops, because if I wait too long, if I wait another hour, there'll be something new. So I am going to get to this Sam Amick information, what he posted and what he said on the NBA Daily Podcast. But a bunch of people have been patiently waiting on the phone line, so we want to get through those. And, right now, this is about the fans and how you're feeling. Like I said, if you're just now joining us, happy Friday, first and foremost. Hopefully you got paid today. If you didn't, you will soon, hopefully. And if you're just now joining us, I got information at the top of the show that there is momentum towards holding on to De'Aaron Fox and revisiting in the offseason, not just holding on to De'Aaron Fox, getting better to the getting back to the initial conversation or the initial plan of adding a wing, adding bench depth, and going on from there. That's the information that I got right before the show started. So if you're just now joining us, I'm going to keep on saying it because I know everybody, you're dropping off your kids, you're at the dentist, I just went to the dentist. No cavities, by the way. Never had a cavity. If you're headed towards the chiropractor, whatever it is. So we're going to continue to kind of relay that information for you. And 916-339-1140, you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Lewis. Wants to be a part of it. What's up, Lewis? Happy Friday. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Mr. Stiles, what's going on out there? Sure appreciate you. Love your show.
Thank you.
This is what, so here we go, right? So Sabonis, he got snubbed.
Mm-hmm.
He was the leading, I believe he's the leading rebounder in the league.
Yes.
Am I wrong about that?
No, you're correct.
Both the Western Conference and the East, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, got it. But then you also have, the gentleman out there in Atlanta who I believe leads the league in assists, and he's left off as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tricky sledding in terms of that. Hopefully he gets his recognition. If I was to really say what really happened, it was just when all the eyes were on him, he came up his smallest, right? When we were in the playoffs, and he couldn't hit the 6-footer, and they played off him, right? He's going to have to live with that. That's his burden. We could also talk about the fact that, Fox didn't make that squad, but Harden did. Now, Harden, he does lead the West in assists, whereas, Fox only averages 4 or 5 assists a night.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Lewis. And I'm double checking here as far as what happened Beam Team season. So, yes, Domantas Sabonis did get in Beam Team season. De'Aaron Fox, they did both make All-NBA, but De'Aaron Fox got in as an All-Star as a replacement. So what you're going kind of back and forth, and thanks for the call, Lewis. Happy Friday. What you're going back and forth about, Lewis, again, I just think, and Kyle's been saying it, the front court situation right now is tougher than the backcourt situation because of no Luka, right? Because Kyrie's kind of been in and out. And again, I do think I'd have to look at the stats, head to head. We kind of spoke about the Sabonis thing, and Trae Young didn't get in, but they're basically saying Trae Young's empty calories, and I think that's ridiculous to try to put Domantas Sabonis in that category. But as far as De'Aaron Fox is concerned, it's a really tough one, right? And the James Harden thing, I do think what names matter. Let's just get that. let's just get that out the way. And yes, it's the Clippers, but it's still LA. James Harden, to your point, 21.7 points, 5.8 rebounds, 8.4 assists, and they're the 5 seed in the West with no Kawhi Leonard for majority of that season. So everything isn't created equal. The Kings, I know De'Aaron, off the top of my head, I know De'Aaron is averaging what? At least 4 more points than Harden, but there's no way he's close to 8.4 assists. He might be at 6, and I would assume that Harden's got him in rebounding as well, and they're the 5th seed and De'Aaron's the 11th. So I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Harden's season, to be completely honest with you, and I was one of those people until you actually look at what he's doing. And again, he's a brand, and this shouldn't matter either, but people do see what he's doing at 35 and say, damn, that's pretty impressive. That should not matter, but it does.
As a member of the Norman Powell fan club, I am a little disappointed that he didn't get the nod. However, the only argument you could make against the Clippers is the same argument you're making against the Rockets, which is they are a team that is really good, but doesn't have one of the 12 best players in the Western Conference, which I think you can make that case for both of them. But the coaches who are voting prioritize the winning. And I think when the media members are going to get a crack at naming All-NBA and some of these awards, I think you're going to see some of that corrected. I'm not saying that Şengün will definitely be left off or Jaren Jackson will definitely be left off. I just think Sabonis is going to get first crack at All-NBA. I would imagine that James Harden isn't going to be there, but I think that's just a byproduct of there's a lot more guards in the East than in the West, and there's a lot more front court stars in the West than there are in the East. I mean, Evan Mobley was the last front court all-star in the East, and I don't know if Evan Mobley would have made it over the Şengüns or the Jaren Jacksons or even the Sabonis if the situation was flipped.
And here's the other situation. There are there are bigger brands in the West. Grandfathered in Steph Curry, grandfathered in LeBron James. I would even argue, I know Anthony Davis is playing well, but he is a brand name. James Harden, brand name.
The other one
is way more brand names.
The other one's Kevin Durant. Right?
Kevin Durant.
Durant is the one that if he didn't win the fan vote for the All-Star, I think he would have been left off the team.
Yeah.
And maybe that means Sabonis gets in. Maybe that means someone else does. But Kevin Durant would have had a chance of not getting named. Phoenix had a chance of being left off the All-Star team altogether.
If I were to ask a casual NBA fan to guess the All-Stars, they would get more names right in the Western Conference than they would in the Eastern Conference because there's more brand names in the Eastern Conference. Western Conference. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Casey wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Casey? What you got for us?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. So I didn't call specifically about Sabonis. I called about the trade, but Sabonis versus Şengün it's a joke. I mean, Sabonis is better in points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. So there's not really one major statistic that Şengün's better at. And I think we beat Houston both times we played them this year. So, I mean, that prioritizing winning for the All-Star game, it seems like prioritizing winning for the All-NBA would be more important. In my opinion, the All-Star game is more of a joke.
Yeah.
It should be stat-based only. But what I really called about was when you talked about the Kings maybe not trading Fox and looking to upgrade in the front court. Mm-hmm. And you said if they don't overpay, I would argue that now's the time to overpay because here's what happens. If you overpay and you give up 2 first-round picks for Cam Johnson and it doesn't work out, well, then guess what? Fox is going to leave, so next year we trade and we get 3 or 4 first-round picks back.
Right.
So, and if it does work out, then we get to keep Fox and we have Cam Johnson and those picks aren't worth anything because we're a good team anyways.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Casey. Kyle, can we sneak in Jay? All right, let's sneak in Jay, 916-339-1140. That is a really good point by Casey. I don't want to gloss over that because, hey, we might pay more now, but either way, we should get some ROI, return on investment. What's up, Jay? What you got for us?
What's going on? I agree with the last caller. You know,
But I wanted to give a unfortunate reality to Kings fans. And it's no secret, Vivek Ranadive is among the poorest owners of the NBA. And I don't recall him ever paying the luxury tax, nor can he afford to, at least from what we've seen. And, I'm a huge King fan, and it's such a disappointment. But the truth is, you sign Fox, you re-sign him, you're in the luxury tax, and you have no way to improve this team. The sad reality is the front office isn't the ones pulling the strings in this situation. It's Vivek Ranadive. And the reason is Monte McNair is not the one footing the bill at the end of the day.
Thanks for the call, Jay. Yeah, I think the conversation about the luxury tax that we've gone back and forth on is when you read off all the teams in their luxury tax, they're all teams, besides maybe the Warriors, they're all teams that you think could win the whole thing. So it turns into a chicken or the egg thing, right? Where it's, do you go into the luxury tax because you want to get to that next level, right? Or do you go into the luxury tax because you're already really close, right? I think what's tough is, and I don't necessarily hate the argument if you're Vivek and it's your money, right? I'm not going to speak on how he compares to other owners. My pops always said don't pocket watch unless you're doing a show talking about NBA teams. But I would say that as far as going to the luxury tax, these teams aren't going into the luxury tax in hopes of getting into the second round. And that's what's been the holdup. So it's, if y'all show me more, and that's why it's such a tough situation, right? Because I do think that this team, as presently constructed, should not be the 10 seed. Let's get that clear. As much as the front office needs to help more, this team played like trash early. This team should probably be sitting pretty in a 7 seed. That's what I think. So if you're Vivek and you're thinking, well, as a 7 seed, if we could bump up to a 5 or 4 seed and the Mavericks just went to the finals as a 5 seed, that might make more sense to me. So it's, well, we need help. Well, you need to win more. Well, you need to pay more. Well, you need to play better. And it's been that back and forth this whole time. Let's get to that Sam Amick info on the other side. We'll get back to your phone lines as well. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Hi. I'm Justin Gingery from the law firm of Gingery, Hammer & Associates. When you have been injured by the fault of another, you will want advice you can trust. If you know an attorney you can trust, I hope you call that person. But if you don't, please call me. I promise I will be the attorney you can trust, along with my entire team. I have been helping accident survivors recover compensation for their injuries for 25 years, and we can help you. There is no charge for calling. If you have an injury, just call Gingery.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money, because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. Then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This year, resolve to save on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on over 30 new half-ton Silverado LT and RST. After rebates. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big. Huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing or leasing. Some other offers. Based on 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
This is a little bit different. I don't know if anybody has heard the new Bruno Mars song with a rapper that some of you may be familiar with, some of you may not be, Sexy Red. But it's another side of Bruno Mars, which is making a lot of people uncomfortable, including myself. Let's just say we can't play it on these airwaves.
No, but in a sex-positive radio show that we have here, I think it's fine. It's not my kind of music.
It's not my... It's... How are you going to play that on the radio?
Yeah, I don't know. I can find the beat, I guess, for you, but it's just... Look, man, Bruno Mars is... did you see the funny joke he had on his Instagram about it? So he became the first... With this song and the one he does with Lady Gaga and the other one that's in the top 10. He has 3 songs in the top 10, so he became the first artist ever on Spotify to reach 150 million monthly listeners.
Uh-huh.
And so he made the joke, keep listening, guys, I'll be out of debt soon.
Well, that's what people were joking about.
Yeah, and he's joking about it too.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where people are like, I know he's got to make money somehow, but he's doing the Vegas residency tour. He's doing the album with old Red. With
it's a whole album?
No, just the song. I'm saying we're doing the song. We got the Lady Gaga one that's like both of them are just trying to cash out on that pop music sensation. Not? So love me some Bruno Mars, but that song's it's not made for me and it's not for me, although it's fine.
Well, I'm just imagining some mom, right? Like someone my mom's age or something like that saying, oh, a new Bruno Mars song is out. Let's check this out. And then their ears proceeding to bleed.
I mean, if they saw the title of the song,
yes,
I think they would know what the game is.
That's also true.
Also, if you know anything about can I say her name? I'm sure I can say her name.
Sexy Red, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just said it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine.
If you're familiar with her game.
Yeah, you know what time it is. If you're familiar with her music, you know what time it is.
And if you're not, you can kind of just guess based on the name. All right. We are very familiar with Sam Amick's game, and Sam Amick had a lot to say. He was on the NBA Daily podcast for The Athletic. Also put out an article on The Athletic. So let's start with the article. The Kings and Spurs have started negotiating. Now, again, this came out yesterday. Okay, this article came out yesterday, later in the day yesterday. I have information today saying that momentum is shifting back towards holding on to De'Aaron. As you hold on to De'Aaron, going back to the original plan of getting a wing, seeing if you can get to that 6th seed and make some type of run. Does that have any bearing on the future of De'Aaron? I'm not sure, but it's feeling like this real quick deal is not going to happen as of 10:51 or whenever I got that text. Things could continue to change by the time this show is over or before the show's even over. But this was Sam Amick yesterday in the article. Kings and Spurs have started negotiating. Kings want Castle. Skepticism around the league that the Kings will get him. The Kings are known to covet the Spurs rookie guard who was taken 4th overall. Now, they say guard. I know everyone's getting scared, but he's 6'6", 6'7", just so you know, who was taken 4th overall out of Connecticut in the NBA draft last June. But there is serious skepticism in league circles that San Antonio will be willing to include him. If that's ultimately the case, the Kings would have to determine whether there's an acceptable pathway to doing the deal without him. That's not the end of San Antonio's considerations either. He goes on to say, beyond the Spurs, who have the luxury of operating with the knowledge that Fox is likely to sign an extension if he comes their way, the Kings' attention has no doubt turned to teams that must view Fox as a rental. The question there, it seems, is whether the Kings are motivated enough to truly consider offers that would likely be far less attractive than the Spurs because of the risk factor involved for teams that roll the dice. The mood of the team could certainly play a part. Here we go. And this goes to the game tomorrow, okay? Back to the article. As league sources close to several Kings players expressed frustration that this situation has become such an ill-timed distraction. Now, DeMar DeRozan posted a funny clip with Bernie Mac where it's basically saying if someone doesn't like you, then bleep them, right? And trying to make some light of it. If I'm using process of elimination, I would say then it's probably not DeMar, right? That only leaves a couple other guys because I'm not counting dudes on the bench. So that only leaves a couple other guys. You can do that process of elimination yourself. But this is an ill-timed distraction. A couple days ago when De'Aaron tried to talk to Chris Biederman, everybody understands it's a business, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. That doesn't mean people have to like it. And that's not necessarily to say that they're mad at De'Aaron. Maybe they're mad at just the situation in general, but we can't talk enough about the fact that they are right there playing the best ball of their life. And Doug Christie is just getting the rug pulled from under him. What happens tomorrow night? Kyle, let's get to what Brian Windhorst had to say as well on the Stephon Castle situation.
The San Antonio Spurs are the team that everyone's watching because that is the team that apparently Fox wants to go to. He's got 1 year left on his contract. So if he goes to a team where he tends to sign, that's going to be something. But Stephon Castle is the key factor in that one because Castle is the key piece that you would want in that deal, and they love Castle.
There it is. So kind of saying the same things Brian Windhorst is, and we know Sam Amick is very close to this situation. Yeah, ultimately, it feels like the Spurs. And this is the reality of the De'Aaron Fox deal. I was reading somewhere, there's so much information out there. But I was reading that the Kings might not get the same Kings ransom, no pun intended, that the Jazz got for Donovan Mitchell. Yesterday, we had conversations on where De'Aaron falls within the guard conversation, right? And if the Kings put out feelers, and those feelers, as far as De'Aaron Fox is concerned, they're not seeing any Godfather offers that are worth it. Maybe they went back to the drawing board, and if the Spurs are not trying to give up Castle, maybe it's, you know what, let's see if we can figure this thing out with De'Aaron. Is it too late? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But the idea that you were going to get 8,000 draft picks, we are now learning what De'Aaron's value is in the league. Yes, according to Shams, dozens of teams called. We don't know what those offers were. We don't know if that was to be option A or option B or number 1A or 1B or 2A or 2B. Let's keep the combo going. If the Kings could get Stephon Castle, is that the best they can do? Also, Jake Fisher has had a lot to say along with Mark Stein. We'll break all of that down. Allen Stiles, Sackdown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com. With the cooler seasons upon us, Advanced Infusion Center remains focused on your health and comfort. Whether you're dealing with a chronic illness or in need of IV therapy, we provide tailored treatments to meet your unique needs. Our caring team is here to make sure your experience is safe, comfortable, and stress-free. With convenient locations in Sacramento and Yuba and flexible scheduling, you can easily access the care you deserve. Explore Advanced Infusion Therapy today. Visit advancedinfusion.com for compassionate care right where you need it.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Oh, please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
reeling in the refund.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Members, it's here. Milo's Rewards Week deals for members only are up for grabs. Get up to 40% off store-wide on hundreds of items. Plus, members save $10 per gallon of Stainmaster Performance Interior Paint. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today and get instant access to Milo's Rewards Week deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
It's time to turn up the volume on live entertainment. Check out the Sacktown Sports live events calendar for the hottest events and shows coming your way. On February 18th, catch the incredible Miles Kennedy at Ace of Spades. His powerful vocals and raw talent will leave you speechless. Then gear up for an adrenaline-packed night with the Thunder Showdown boxing event at Thunder Valley on March 8th. Who will come out on top in the ring? Be there to find out. On March 9th, don't miss the legendary John Oates live at the Crest Theater, bringing you iconic hits and timeless melodies. If you're a country fan, mark your calendar for March 16th, when Alexandra Kay brings her heartfelt songs to Ace of Spades for an unforgettable evening. And on March 29th, get ready to rock the night away as Papa Roach and Rise Against take over the Golden One Center with an electrifying performance. Don't miss these amazing events. For more information and your chance to win tickets, head to sacktownsports.com. Sacktown Sports, your front row seat to the Sacramento area's best live entertainment.
This 49er injury report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries
Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
One hour down, 3 to go. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. as we continue to break down all things De'Aaron Fox, all things All-Star snub bonus is what you got. You got trade. That's what Trey Young is saying when he gets snubbed from the All-Star. So you got snub bonus and you got trade Young. You know, there was a world as the momentum, if you're just now joining us in the first hour at the top of the show, got some information, got a text that momentum is moving towards holding on to De'Aaron and not trying to make that rash move. And part of that could be what the landscape did look like. Part of that could be just the timing of everything. So that obviously anything can happen. Things change quickly. It maybe this is a situation where the Kings are playing it back the other way and saying, you know what, he's off the market. And then the Spurs say, fine, you can have Stephon Castle. That's a possibility too. You never know. But as far as what moves could be made, I don't think that Trey Young is better than De'Aaron Fox. But if you were to give me a name where it was De'Aaron's out the window and there's just not a lot of, and I don't know that Trey Young is disgruntled, and I do feel like Trey Young probably likes the city of Atlanta. Not that it's a big market, but would probably like being in Atlanta more than Sacramento. Also because he can just sit in that 9-10 seed. They're going to make the play in every season. But there is a world where if De'Aaron was out the door and the Hawks are kind of stuck in this weird situation anyway, if there is a way to get Trey Young to Sacramento, that's one of the few names where the star power is similar. And that would be, to me, a true retool. And that would be the OKC model, which didn't really work out with OKC and Russell Westbrook, but they gave it a shot. They ultimately had to rebuild anyway, and now they're really good. So it still was kind of a happy ending.
Are you talking about Westbrook with Houston?
I'm talking about Westbrook. I'm talking about when Paul George got to OKC.
Okay.
Yeah. And how they tried to retool that once KD left. It didn't really work out. So they said, okay, we still gave our fans a reason to put their butts in the seats. Now we'll fully rebuild. And we at least tried to see what would happen. If there was a way to, if something changes with De'Aaron Fox, even this offseason, if there's a way to get Trey Young, there's just not a lot of retooling names that are disgruntled or kind of in limbo besides Trey Young.
I mean, Brandon Ingram, but that's not a win now, like we're now immediately contenders type of move.
Esteban is saying Brandon Ingram as well. I just don't love Brandon Ingram and DeMar DeRozan together.
Yeah, that would probably be, well, I guess no, if De'Aaron's gone, maybe it wouldn't be with DeRozan. But again, this is the tough part about doing the life without De'Aaron Fox conversation, it's just impossible to project what the roster would look like after a trade is made, which, bringing it back to the Stephon Castle of it all, it's like, yeah, you could bring in Stephon Castle, and that might be the best the Kings can do, given that San Antonio is the only team Fox has given long-term commitment to. But if you bring in Stephon Castle, what makes it interesting is that you've then if you just make that move in a vacuum, right? If they end up getting Castle for whatever reason, and it's Castle and salary filler and draft picks, say they get Keldon Johnson, say they get Zach Collins and Castle and draft picks. At that point, you've got 4 players on your roster all on different timelines, right? You have DeRozan at the back end of his career trying to make one more move. You've got Sabonis in his prime. You've got Malik Monk, whatever that timeline is. And you have Stephon Castle, who would obviously be a rookie of the year type player, but is also 21 years old. And then, Keegan Murray, who's kind of, I guess, in the same age bracket, but doesn't have the same ceiling as any of those other 3 players. So they would have to do some moves after the fact, which is why it's tough to project what the roster is actually going to look like if that's what the Kings are trying to make happen.
Yeah, and the 415 is saying if that's the case, Styles, why don't they call Atlanta and just do a 1-for-1? I believe Trey would probably mesh better with our roster. It takes 2 to tango, 4-5. I know you know that. I thought talking to Jason Bede, who covers the Magic last night, I thought the most illuminating thing that he said, I know it's specific to the Magic because the Magic are bricks and they can't really shoot. They've actually been quite terrible since Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner have returned. But I thought it was a bit illuminating how much he was talking about three-point shooting and how important it is to have a point guard or a guard that can shoot the 3-ball. And looking around at some of these teams and what they would need if you don't, and De'Aaron is not a terrible 3-point shooter, highest percentage last season, but if you don't have a sniper of a shooter, that does also change. And now Wemby can shoot the 3, so it's a little bit different. But that does also change how you build this thing. And a team like the Magic saying, De'Aaron's an all-star point guard, but we have Paolo Banchero that can handle the basketball, Franz Wagner to a certain degree. We need shooters. So there are certain teams that, again, if you're trying to figure out who is interested in De'Aaron, they must already have shooters. And De'Aaron is not Rajon Rondo, don't get me wrong, but it was a bit illuminating how important we know how important the 3-ball is, and De'Aaron can be hot and cold in that regard.
Yeah, I guess the other part I would say, though, is De'Aaron Fox that caliber of player where the team that's trading for him is saying, we will reinvent our identity to build around De'Aaron Fox?
And that's why the idea of not moving De'Aaron right now and the information that we got at the top of the show doesn't necessarily mean that everything is honky-dory with the Kings. It means that this market, Sham saying 12 teams called does not really tell us that much besides 12 teams called. We don't know what they said. We don't know what the role for De'Aaron was. We don't know what they were trying to give up to get De'Aaron. What we do know is this. The Kings, if they went on to release this information, or it got out, right, that they were listening to the point where they called De'Aaron, they were hoping they would get a Godfather offer. The way I'm kind of reading this, and I'm breaking this down as we go, and a lot of times I will listen back to the show and once we have new information and say, oh, man, well, I said it this way, but things are continuing to happen as the show happens, especially being in this time slot.
Oh yeah, don't worry, I get it. I ignored everything I said on Tuesday. Everything I said on Tuesday was not correct.
But the way this is starting to look is it's not necessarily we want to work with De'Aaron. It's we thought maybe we'd get a Godfather offer. We didn't. Okay, so we're going to try to salvage this, but these conversations are going to pick back up. So I know I saw some people in the Sack Chat feeling much better about it. I think there's reason to feel good about it because they could go on a miracle run and this could be saved. You don't have that opportunity if you move them before the trade deadline. but I don't know how much this says about we want to work with De'Aaron versus, we didn't get a Godfather offer.
Which is why this goes back to the feeling I've been having from the beginning, why it felt so ridiculous and like such a miscalculation to even throw the offers out there for De'Aaron, or at least have it then be known publicly that they were trying to find that offer or they're willing to take calls on him, because now if the bridge wasn't burned before, like
it's smoking now.
We talked with Brendan yesterday about like, he's put up with a lot of stuff over the years with the organization, missteps, not bringing in wings, all that stuff like that. This would be kind of the biggest, not betrayal, but kind of misstep in terms of the relationship with Fox to make that all public and to blow up what was turning into a pretty good run with Doug Christie. Like, the team probably wasn't going to make a deep run just because of the OKCs and the Denvers and everyone else they would have had to jump. But they had gotten back to the play-in. It wasn't like the season was a complete wash when they decided to do this.
Right.
And that's what feels like crazy to me about the whole process is, even if you get that Godfather offer, or you even get Stephon Castle, which I don't know why they thought they could get Stephon Castle before his Rookie of the Year season ends. Like, even if you can't get those players in a deal, why even try if you're going to get 70 cents on the dollar no matter what?
Yeah, and now it's not over yet, obviously, and the momentum is moving towards not moving De'Aaron, but there's a world where this helps. There's a world where this is just a joke of a season and nobody's really buying into anything because similar to the Anthony Davis situation, Anthony Davis didn't get moved to the summer. So we'll see how that goes. We have all this Jake Fisher information for you on the other side. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. on a rainy Friday. Hope you didn't have any golf plans because it's going to be rainy all week. Don't we have that ad that says it's actually more fun or you play some of your best golf in the rain? I don't think that's me.
You don't agree with Frank LaRosa?
I think it's just more, I would rather play worse and not be cold and wet.
That's fair.
You know,
as a non-golfer, I think I understand it, but I couldn't ride my bike to work today, so that made me sad.
Well, I think what it is you're more focused on golf when the weather is bad. When the weather is good, have a couple bevies, you're talking with your friends, you're not focused. That's what I think. If you're out there in the rain, you want to make it worth it because it's terrible. That's what I think.
I don't know. It sounds like you're telling me you're not a serious golfer there, Mr. Stiles.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. I'm serious when I need to be. And we're serious about these calls. We're about to get to them. We see ya. As we heard a lot from Jake Fisher. And this started a crazy night for Kings fans where Jake Fisher on the Mark Stein, the Stein Line Substack, Jake Fisher said some things that got a lot of people talking. And honestly, a lot of people, I would say, confused about what exactly went down and how it went down. Here it is. The 3 years later, as he talks about the Tyrese Halliburton and Domantas Sabonis trade, 3 years later, it's the Kings, according to league sources, who first approached De'Aaron Fox's Clutch Sports representation about putting the all-star guard on the trade market with immediate effect. Sacramento sent word to some interested teams as early as last week that it was open for such overtures. That's the flipped switch in Sacktown. Yet, this impending breakup, to be clear, was inspired by Fox's wavering commitment to the only franchise he's ever known. He hasn't formally requested to be traded, true, but he also has been unwilling to commit his long-term future to the Kings. So basically, Jake Fisher is reporting that last week the Kings, it wasn't, maybe there was a team here or there that reached out about De'Aaron, but at first we were told that teams were reaching out to the Kings. Jake Fisher is reporting that Sacramento sent word to some interested teams as early as last week, or maybe the teams did reach out to them and this was the Kings following up saying, hey, we know you said you might have been interested in De'Aaron Fox. What are you thinking? That's what Jake Fisher is reporting.
I'm guessing that people had started checking in as soon as the Mike Brown firing happened or as soon as the Rich Paul meeting thing came out. Like, not to say that I think the Kings turned them away and made it clear they weren't trading Fox, but right. I think teams were checking in as soon as that, just because that's being proactive. And if you're interested, you're making moves like that all the time. But this is what De'Aaron was telling us. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron was saying, I'm not asking to be traded. They chose to do this. De'Aaron was saying that point that Jake Fisher made from the very start. And so it feels like we kind of knew that was the case, but for people who maybe were quick to not dismiss De'Aaron, but kind of like, hold on now, let's not just take his word at face value.
And it's Clutch, right? And they have a reputation.
And it's Clutch, of course. And Clutch has, I can't remember, it might have been Siegel who pointed this out. Clutch has tried to steer Garland to San Antonio and Trae Young to San Antonio before. This isn't a new thing. I think this just kind of verifies, like, yeah, what De'Aaron was saying is true. This was Monte and Wes opening up trade talks to buy themselves, 10 days to see if maybe they could get a max offer on De'Aaron Fox versus the 50 cents or 70 cents on the dollar they will get for Fox this offseason.
Mm-hmm. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Doug. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Doug? What you got for us?
Yes, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
So I got a few things. So if I can get my quick questions in, I'd like to be able to do that. First off, I don't understand how Sabonis can't be an all-star, but then I do have an answer for it because the rest of the league is very happy when things are horrible in Sacramento. All we do is we get all the bad news and everybody dumps on us. Mm-hmm. And if something good happens for us, nobody wants to talk about it. Okay, that's one thing.
Right.
Second one is, I don't understand how that with all these analytics and strategists and all that kind of stuff, or strategists, that they can't come up with a way to make the voting not a vote, but based on statistical data that says if you scored 26.5, 26.4, 26.3, 14.5, 14.4 rebounds, 10.1 assists, 10 assists and stuff, and come up with a number that everybody has to live with, and then we don't have to go through this stuff every year and going, another guy shut out, and it has an effect on his what money he'll get and postseason awards and all that kind of stuff. And lastly, it's very speculative. I wish I knew what Fox wanted to do. I'm going for big. I'm going to go for John Collins if I'm the GM. We're going to give up Ferger, Lyles, and the picks. And if that's what Fox wants, we go get that guy. Have a great weekend. That's all I got.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Great stuff. Yeah, the analytics and the machine model, put it in the same conversation with robot umps. I think there's a world where that should matter. I do think All-Star should go beyond purely statistics. The question is, how far past statistics should it go, right? So if is there a middle ground where your position in the West does matter, where your seating does matter? That's what I would say to that. And I hear you, Doug. Either way, he got snubbed. I do feel like it was weirdly less egregious this season than last season, but either way, we're just tired of this happening. Let's get to Mitch, wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mitch? What you got for us?
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Happy Friday.
Same to you.
First of all, if the Kings don't get the All-Star, if you get the All-Star snub, that's 4 days off. I'd rather have the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way you should trade Fox. I think he's your best draft choice. How many times you're going to trade your best pick because you can't keep it? If you can't keep your talent, and we haven't really hit too many times when we've been picking in the lottery, then why have a team? I mean, it wasn't for that new arena, I assume they'd be in Vegas or Seattle, but we got to keep Fox.
Yeah.
Who's the boy?
Thanks for the call, Mitch. Yeah, and that's what Bobby Marks kind of said when he was on the morning show, and we have some of that sound for you that we'll get to before the show ends, where he says, if you're Sacramento, there's not a lot of opportunities where you're going to have a top 30 player. So if you are going to move him, you better not mess this up. You better not mess this up if you're going to move him. Let's get to TC, wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
What's up, big dog?
What's up?
Hey, so I got a scenario with this scenario, right? And this is coming straight from Vivek, right? So everybody, want to talk down on Vivek, and, Vivek just want a winner. So from Vivek's standpoint, I'll pull a boss move like this, right? Listen, Money and West, you guys are out, right? So, but before he does it, it's reports about, I don't know how true that was, about him flying to OKC. So
right.
Why not push it like this? Money and West, y'all, because every deal has to come across his desk. Why don't you guys get this deal done right now? Either if for both of them, John and Cam, or one of them, whatever deal that is, first round pick, get the deal done. Then I fire him. I go sit down with my boy Sam Presti in OKC and say, you know what, Sam, I'm gonna take the guy that's right up under you. What's his name? Rob Hennigan. Chick, I thought long and hard about this, guys. Listen to me. Look at that guy's resume. The vice president players up under Sam Presti, bro. I'm firing West and Money, and I'm hiring that guy because I know he knows what he's going to be doing sitting up under Presti. Plus, he has the resume. West and Money are out. John Collins or Cam Johnson are in, and I let that guy, Rob Hennigan, find out what we want to do this offseason, bro.
Thanks for the call, TC. I mean, I'll give you a 10 for creativity. I'll give you a 10 for creativity. That's a tough one. That's a tough couple things to pull off there in a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's kind of have your cake and eat it too. It's I want to be a buyer right now, but I also want someone else to sell and rebuild this offseason.
Exactly.
So that's tough.
Exactly. On the other side, Seymour, we see you, but we got to get to a quick one. Don't go anywhere. Who is the Lakers player that is untouchable, which is why they are not on De'Aaron's list? We'll tell you who it is on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CRV, HRV, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. Chad, what's going on for the Start Something New sales event?
Right now, you can lease a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4x8 plug-in for as low as $319 a month. For 42 months with $39.95 due at signing. Plus, with 56 MPGE, you'll save thousands at the pump.
And in one of America's favorite SUVs.
Exactly. And that's not it. Not only do we have great deals on new Jeeps, but the Hoblet Family Dealers is growing with a huge selection of used cars at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter. With over 200 used vehicles available and 40 under $20,000.
Get the new Jeep your family needs. It's waiting at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
Lease of $319 for 42 months before tax and license. Must be California resident for rebates, including $7,500 SFS hybrid electric federal tax credit and $2,500 West SFS lease cash. Must finance through Stellantis. $39.95 due at signing. 10,000 miles per year. 30 cents per mile over. Tax and license extra. 5 of this net savings. Sample MSRP 62,225 VIN 681180. See dealer for details.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
What will happen with the Sacramento Kings? What will happen with them tomorrow night? Are they going to get their doors blown off? Are they going to show up? The Lakers, they showed up against the Wizards. By the way, we didn't talk about this. We're about to get to Seymour on the line. Did you see the fans chanting MVP for Bronny?
Oh, yeah.
So bad.
Lakers fans are a weird breed, man. I give them props for sticking to their identity, but
if you're Bronny, doesn't it feel like you're a joke?
Well, Bronny is a joke. Doesn't feel like he's a joke. He is a joke.
He's at the free throw line. They smacked the Wizards. He gets an and one. He goes to the free throw. They're chanting MVP. I'd be embarrassed.
Here's my feeling on this.
I'd be embarrassed.
Sure, but Bronny's an NBA player and the father of the son of a billionaire. Fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. Embarrassment comes in. We all get embarrassed. It's fine. But this is my thinking on the whole situation. If Bronny didn't want to be playing with his dad on the Lakers, do you think the Lakers would have drafted him? If LeBron wanted it, but Bronny said, I don't want this.
No.
They wouldn't have picked him.
I don't think so.
Right. So Bronny was okay
Yeah.
with the idea of playing for LeBron.
Right.
Therefore, fair game to embarrass him, make jokes about him, make his career a joke. Fair game, man. You wanted to be in the NBA with your dad. Fair game for us to laugh at you about it.
Well, I think that's probably the only thing, and I don't have a problem with the Lakers drafting Bronny. My only issue with the whole situation has been the facade that Bronny just wants to work hard and doesn't want anything handed to him. When there was that report that he wasn't going to play in the G League, that went away because he had to play in the G League. And then this whole idea and the whole situation of, to your point, getting drafted to the Lakers. If you just want to make it on your own, I know they wanted to, it would have been history either way.
Well,
so
yeah.
he didn't have to play on the Lakers.
Yeah, but that's what nepotism is, right? Nepotism babies do work hard. Nepotism babies do end up working their way up through the ladders. What makes it nepotism is when you get that entrance into a field that is exclusive, like being an NBA player or being an NFL coach or being a broadcaster. You know, these are very high demand jobs. And so the people who get through the door are often people related by blood or marriage to people who already work in that industry. So that's just what nepotism is what you're describing there. Like, yes, he got into the league thanks to his dad. Obviously, he was on the cusp of being in the NBA anyways, so I don't want to discredit him there, but he gets one of the 450 roster spots because of who his dad is.
Yeah.
And that's just the nepotism of it all. Bronny's going to work hard. He's going to do the two-way contract thing. Maybe he'll eventually get a full-time contract with the Lakers, but as long as he's like relatively close to being one of the best 450, he'll always have a roster spot with the Lakers.
916-339-1140. 916 Folsom Mike says Bronny wasn't asked. He had no other choice. I don't believe that. I believe that Bronny did, want this. If Bronny said, Dad, I don't want to play on the same team with you, I just don't think LeBron would have said, no, I'm making you do it.
Exactly.
Right? I think the question would have been, is somebody else going to, I think the question would have been, is somebody else going to draft you? But, and on top of that, the other conversation is, what was the LeBron James part of it? The Lakers were in a tough spot because Bronny was going to get drafted as a pawn either way. So LeBron had to come out and say, well, I'm not going anywhere that Bronny goes. The whole thing was a mess. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Seymour. Wants to talk about the Kings mess. What's up, Seymour? What you got for us?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good. What you got?
So first off, with the whole Bronny thing, I just want someone to dunk on him, and as a Kings fan, I'll be happy.
I'm sure it's probably going to happen. If not, it hasn't already, which is funny because somebody was saying, oh, look at Bronny averaging whatever he is in the G League. I'm like, have you looked at what Kobe Jones does in the G League? This is what happened. But sorry, Seymour, go ahead.
No, you're right. That is what happens. But so with the whole Fox thing, I'm curious, has there ever been a report or any information as someone just sitting down with Fox and like, look, dude, what do you want from a player that we can get, money-wise, whatever? Has that ever happened? I'm curious because it seems like it's all just a back and forth. None of it's ever true.
And that's what thanks for the call, Seymour. Happy Friday. That's what we were talking about earlier this week, right? Whether or not De'Aaron actually wanted to stay based on the kind of vague requests of, we just need to be better, right? And whether or not this thing, fair or not, was already too far gone, where it's, now De'Aaron is saying, hey, the team needs to be better, but he knows that ultimately there's only so much you can do in one trade deadline. So essentially he was saying, you need to be better. You're not going to get where I need you to be. And that's a problem, right? Because by the time he says all this, they had already drafted Carter. There's a 209 that keeps hopping on the text line saying, why can't they play Carter? I don't know. Clearly he's not ready. I don't know if it's an injury thing. I don't know. But they had already drafted Carter. So from there, you really only have obviously the wings conversation and maybe just one wing. and a backup center, something like that. But that's when we asked to put the GM hats on, and what would you do if you were Monte McNair or Wes Wilcox? That's what I would say. Is there a name, right? Is there a name? Now, there was a report going around yesterday that said that De'Aaron or that Mike Brown turned down John Collins after last season, and there was some interest in Brandon Ingram, but he didn't like either of those players. And my question is, again, this stuff is coming out and there's not a bunch of details there. They're just little clips and free samples of things. Because my question is, well, did Mike Brown have a say in Sasha Vezenkov? Because he didn't even play that man. So I don't really know how they've been operating. But as far as the conversation with De'Aaron, and what will keep you? If De'Aaron doesn't have an answer for that, then it says to me, maybe this thing is too far gone and he's saying the right things and he's not requesting a trade, and I'm air quoting here, but there's no way for us to make him happy at this point. And that's really what a lot of the conversation was yesterday with Chris Watkins and Brendan Nunez, and go check that out on YouTube if you missed that, or on the Sacktown Sports app. So to answer your question, Seymour, yeah, I don't know that they've said, brother, what is it that you want? And if they did, and they just decided that they couldn't do it, or if they did and what he wants is just unattainable, maybe that's why this stuff got where it got to. But the vague be better thing, I've made jokes time and time again about it being a relationship. How do you want me to be better? Yeah, that's tough for an organization, but nobody's feeling bad for the organization right now because they're saying that this is your fault that we're in this position.
Well, and they're saying that, thank you for your time. Bye. We're going to send you somewhere else, maybe a place you don't even want, right, based on whatever the offers we get are, which is kind of the business, right?
So that's where everything is. And of course, there's a 209 saying, why are we treating Fox like a top 5 player? Yeah, I don't think you are. But when is the last time the Sacramento Kings had a top 5 player, right? I got to speak with caution here, but everything is relative, right? So the Kings having a top 30 player is almost close to the equivalent of having a top 5 player, and how you should handle it, because we don't know what Stephon Castle's going to be. We don't know what any of these picks are going to be. We know what De'Aaron Fox is right now. Is he perfect? No.
Well, it also doesn't change the fact that De'Aaron Fox has pretty much all the leverage in this situation. And if De'Aaron Fox doesn't play another game for the Sacramento Kings, they are going to retire his jersey at Golden One Center. Like, De'Aaron Fox is so important to this franchise. He's a jersey retirement player, and well-run organizations show that player a level of respect on their way out the door. And you handle the situation with class when you're talking about a player who's that important to your franchise. He might not be a top 5 player in the NBA, but he's one of the top 5 players to ever wear a Sacramento Kings uniform, and that's not really up for debate.
Yeah, and when the whole thing happened with James Harden leaving Houston, was he a top 5 player in the NBA? I don't think so.
Leaving Houston, I would say he wasn't a top 5 in the MVP anymore. You could argue top 5 in the league, but I mean, he wasn't even the number 1 or 2 on the team he was going to in Brooklyn.
Right. So I don't think it's a matter of treating, and I mean, it's you're handling the situation, right? And when people say, well, would the Kings be a 10-11 seed if they had X player or Y player? No, they'd probably be better. But I never said that De'Aaron Fox was better than those players. I'm saying you have to handle things a certain way.
And it doesn't matter if he's a top 5 player or not, because he is still a player that is, like Sam Amick said, and like Brian Windhorst and Shams have been saying, he's at the top of the trade market. Like, players as good as De'Aaron Fox just don't come available all that often. And so,
especially coming out of Sacramento, where normally they hold on to guys like that.
And a player still in his prime.
So, yeah, I don't think anybody is treating De'Aaron like a top 5 player. It's just a matter of what else the Kings are working with right now. All right, let's get to the other side, and when we do, we will reveal who that Lakers player is the LA team is unwilling to move off of in order to get one De'Aaron Fox. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. Every day, ZipRecruiter helps people who are actively looking for jobs like yours, so it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came back to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and the regular season is over, but the high hand bonuses, those are not. $500 per primetime football game, whether it's weekend, Monday night, whatever it may be. And those bonuses available until the season ends, including the big game on February 9th. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
My good friends over at Jiffy Lube have an amazing New Year oil change special going on right now for the month of January. Get a full synthetic oil change starting at just $76.99 with a $33 off coupon online. That's right, starting at just $76.99 for a full synthetic motor oil change with a $33 off online coupon from JiffyLube.com today. Offer valid for up to 5 quarts of premium motor oil, specialty vehicles, and diesel extra. Happy New Year from Jiffy Lube.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Yeah, now, this is the weird thing. And Jake Fisher had a lot to say yesterday on the Mark Stein, the Steinline Substack. Austin Reeves is the guy that they were not very sure that they want to move off of. Among the reasons why the Lakers are not Fox's preferred destination, Clutch has direct knowledge of many Lakers dealings thanks to its representation of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which means Clutch knows, as sources tell the Stein line, that the Lakers have zero intention of parting with Sacramento's presumed top target in any Fox discussions, Austin Reeves. Now, I'll go off back and forth with Austin Reeves. This is a guy that the Lakers are just refusing to move off of. Again, we're continuing to learn about teams. We're continuing to learn about De'Aaron Fox's perceived value with other teams, right? And I think Kings fans can be a little frustrated. We talked about how Harrison Barnes got hyped up after he moved on, and this DeRozan fit, not sure how. It's almost like a Sacramento stench, right? You get to Sacramento and all of a sudden DeMar DeRozan is not as good as his Hall of Fame resume says, and Harrison Barnes gets to San Antonio and all of a sudden he's better than he's ever been. So now that De'Aaron Fox is on the way out, you have a lot of national media members hyping him up. Oh, he's going to leave Sacramento? Oh, that's just Sacramento being Sacramento. He's getting out of there? Oh, he's actually good now. We're actually going to talk about him now. So I do think that there might be a little bit of that going on. The calls are the calls, and the reports on teams calling the Kings and the Kings reaching out to teams first. It is what it is. But I'm looking here as, I read a text on the other side where it says De'Aaron Fox isn't a top 5 player. Another number saying from the 530, no way Fox is a top 30 player. The only skill he has is elite speed. Let's not overhype him now. Sabonis is a much better player. So I think it's a weird situation, and I don't know if this 530 is a Kings fan or not, but I think it's a weird situation where Kings fans are dealing with national media doing the thing where they hype up players because they're leaving Sacramento, and Kings fans are kind of doing the opposite in a weird way where it's, well, if he leaves, he wasn't that good anyway. We went to one playoff series and we still got Sabonis. So I think everybody is kind of stuck on how to feel about De'Aaron moving on. And I do think that he's a top 30 player. I don't think he's a top 10 player, and I don't know that he's a top 15 player, but he's a top 30 player in the league.
About in that range.
Or you go top 40?
I'd say 25 to 40.
25 to 40?
Depends on, different people can have different opinions about who the best players in the league are. I look at the situation. I mean, we did the evaluation yesterday. He's between 11 and 13 among guards. We talked about how many great bigs there are in the West.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, probably somewhere between 25 to 40. That's a wide enough gap. But I think the bigger part of the hype around De'Aaron Fox now is that NBA players don't move around as much as they used to, specifically stars. I remember back in 2019, it was like the 2016 All-Star team, everyone but 4 players is on a different team than they were on back in 2016. And that it doesn't happen with this generation, right? Giannis has been on the same team that drafted him. Jokic, same team that drafted him. Embiid, same team that drafted him. I know it seems weird to think about it, but this is year 6 for Anthony Davis with the Lakers. He's almost been a Laker as long as he was a Pelican at this point. Yeah. So Devin Booker's on the same team that drafted him. Like, these players just don't come available very often anymore. I mean, what was the last star player in your mind to get moved in the NBA?
KD?
Was it Lillard?
Yeah.
I mean, that was over a year ago now. Like, these players just don't come available very often anymore. And so that's just part of the reason why De'Aaron Fox becoming available is such a story, is because we know how much the transaction drives a lot of these national shows and national podcasts and programs. The idea of the transaction is what draws a lot of people in. And so De'Aaron Fox becoming available is a giant news story because he, if Jimmy Butler doesn't get traded, he might be the biggest player to switch teams. Depending on how you feel about Paul George, the biggest player to switch teams since Damian Lillard last summer.
I'm looking here at the Austin Reeves thing before anybody says that it's disrespectful to De'Aaron, it does appear that Austin Reeves at the shooting guard position, Austin Reeves is in the middle of a leap. Austin Reeves, his career average 13.4 points per game. He's at 18.2 this season. He's up in every category. 6.1 assists to his career of 4.1, 4.2 rebounds to 3.7 or to 3.7 on his career. So a lot of people, and I joked about it as far as Austin Reeves being untouchable in the past. Maybe he shouldn't have been untouchable in the past, but he's in the middle of a leap. He's 26 years old, so he's heading into his prime. I don't ultimately know what he's going to be. You know, he goes as shady, a 6'5". You know what I mean? He's not a small guard per se. He's still improving on the defensive end. He's closer to a traffic cone than to a two-way player, but that's a guy who the Lakers have invested in. They have him on a great deal. Let's not forget that. A lot of people were surprised that they were able to keep him on that team-friendly deal, and they're seeing the fruits of their labor right now. 18.2 a game, 6.1 assists. They do not want to move on from that. And the ultimate thing is that, number one, LeBron likes him, and number two, we don't know how much longer LeBron's going to play. I'm not saying Austin Reeves is going to take over the organization, but you need dudes. And the Rui Hachimuras and guys like that, they took swings on all these guys that are not young but not old yet, right, or about to hit their prime. And, you know, I think they would probably move on from a Rui. They would probably move on from a Vanderbilt who can't really stay on the court. But, you know, when I first read that from Jake Fisher, I thought it was a bit egregious. Now that I'm looking at his numbers, I understand why the Lakers would say, no, we kind of want to add. And again, let's not forget 36% from three, the ability to shoot the three ball. They want to make sure, you know, they can't get rid of everybody. And before you say that's egregious, look up what he's doing this season.
Yeah, and I understand that idea of saying he'll make a leap. However, I couldn't believe this until I just looked it up. Austin Reeves is only 5 months younger than De'Aaron Fox. They're the same age, essentially, which is weird. It's just because Austin Reeves played, I think, maybe 5 years of college basketball.
Right.
Like he was at Wichita and then Oklahoma. Like he's what the reason he went undrafted is just because the NBA thinks if you play 4 years of college basketball, you can't play in the NBA. But Austin Reeves, you can say he might project to make a leap or grow or hit an all-star, but he's 26, about to turn 27 years old. This is kind of the Lakers looking at it and saying, we think he complements Anthony Davis and LeBron James's game better right now. Maybe once LeBron retires, they might be looking for a true point guard to pair alongside Davis. But for now, LeBron is the point forward of that offense.
So I understand why. You don't have to agree with it, and somebody is saying that that's fool's gold from Austin Reeves. Well, then let it be fool's gold, because if the Lakers stink, that's always a great time. But I can see why they don't want to move him.
Austin Reeves might be the quintessential found money award guy. I said Jose Alvarado is that guy, but Austin Reeves, man, to be the number 3 for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, not just like starting now, for like this is the 3rd year now of him being the number 3 for a LeBron James and Anthony Davis team is kind of wild when you think about it.
So that is a new update on why the Lakers were not on De'Aaron's list. I ultimately don't know that De'Aaron wants to be in LA, to be honest with you, and to deal with the Lakers and to deal with LeBron. Oh my goodness. If you thought Podium Gate was bad last season, dealing with the Lakers media, man, oh man. And De'Aaron had some jokes when he was, with Funny Marco and, kind of threw some shots at Sacramento media. There's a reason he's looking at San Antonio. I don't think De'Aaron wants that smoke in a large market.
It is a well-run organization, though, and you know what I think of when I think of the Lakers, an organization run by LeBron James.
That's right. Let's hear from Sam Amick, who basically addressed other teams being in or out on De'Aaron Fox on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line, golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 16. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Members, it's here. Milo's Rewards Week deals for members only are up for grabs. You name it, we've got it for less. Get up to 40% off store-wide on hundreds of items, including select bath, tools, paint, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today and get instant access to Milo's Rewards Week deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle Draper from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. You know, I'm a huge fan of their SUVs and sedans, but they also have a huge Vans fleet center. Listen up, business owners. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of tax deductions. They have the perfect van to power your fleet, including the new fully electric e-Sprinter alongside their very reliable diesel options. And even if you aren't a business owner, let's say you just want one for personal reasons, maybe you want to go out on the town with the fellas or with the ladies, or maybe you want to take the kids on a road trip. Well, their vans are fully customizable. So check out Mercedes-Benz of Stockton right now. You can choose from their dependable diesel models or even go all electric with the new e-Sprinter. So head on down to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton right now and check out their fleet center. Or, of course, you can go online at mbfstockton.com. That's mbfstockton.com.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
All of our favorite names are busy. Obviously, Sam Amick being one of those names joins the morning show every week. He is out and about. I can't see a different podcast or any podcast without Sam Amick popping up. So, Kyle, we have a couple different clips here, and we have clips on certain teams being in or out, from the Rockets to the Lakers to the Magic to the Heat and the Clippers. Let's start with what Sam had to say about the Rockets and the Lakers.
Outside of the Spurs, are there other teams that are, an option to go and get Fox that you've heard of?
Well, it's interesting to keep it in Texas, and we've been hearing this for a while. Houston, I think if this thing gets to the summertime, Houston might revisit the idea of thinking about De'Aaron Fox, but they are not doing that during the season. They are obviously playing fantastic basketball. They're second in the West. Their plan that they are going to stick to is to get to the end of this season and then monitor what they think of their current group and then go from there. So in that scenario, maybe Fox comes into play, not right now. The Lakers, I'm told, are not a place that De'Aaron or his camp is trying to push him towards, even with the connections between Fox's agent, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. This is a whole different conversation, but probably not a great sign for the Lakers that the Clutch camp looks at their operation and says, no, let's go elsewhere with a young all-star level talent. But again, that's a conversation for another day.
And, that's kind of Sam the back and forth there, Sam, maybe even saying you are overvaluing Austin Reeves a little too much, right? And that's their prerogative. So yeah, interesting stuff there. Let's hear about our favorites, the Orlando Magic.
Orlando comes to mind. They have interest in Fox. They've been doing some due diligence on him for quite some time, and I think formulating their own opinion. I don't know, if they're jumping in immediately right now, but it wouldn't shock me. They've had so many injuries this year, and you can tell that they are trying to hold on to all of that positivity that came with the strong start they had, while also trying to figure out how do we take the next step. So Orlando comes to mind.
And last but not least, Sam Amick on the Heat and the Clippers.
And it is very difficult to get these teams to a place, to your point, midseason to pull something like this off. Again, I already said, Houston's out of the running because midseason doesn't work for them. The other two teams that I was blanking on, Miami and the Clippers, are frequently mentioned with Fox. Now the Miami thing, that's kind of interesting. You never know. We could see, does a Fox and Butler situation kind of run headlong into one another? I think whatever the Butler situation ends up being is potentially a 3, 4, 5 team deal. Tough to put together, but you have two big time pieces in Butler and Fox now in play. But yes, to your question, the summertime is easier logistically, but the question becomes, do the Kings lose leverage by that point?
So, and there wasn't a lot there on the Clippers, but he didn't mention them. Yeah, the Heat are interesting. The Clippers would be fascinating because would De'Aaron be willing to take a chance on Kawhi's health? I don't see that.
I went through well, I guess first of all, I guess we should do the sound effect. I went through the options and the Clippers deal is difficult because let's assume they're not going to trade Kawhi. They're not going to trade James Harden. They're not going to trade Norman Powell, and they're not going to trade Zubac, right?
Okay.
So then you're doing the salary filler, draft picks, and you get Terrence Mann, right? Terrence Mann as the centerpiece of the trade is kind of a move you make for the Clippers with the assumption that you're doing it as a rental, which is great. If they could get De'Aaron Fox as a 2-year rental, you get him, Harden, Kawhi, Norman Powell, Zubac. That's our 4 or our 5.
I think the Kings would get Norman Powell. I think.
Now, Norman Powell's basically an all-star. I mean, you could make an argument Norman Powell's having a better season than De'Aaron Fox.
You could. You definitely could.
I'm just saying that the deal is probably the Clippers. I think the talks kind of fall apart once they realize a package built around Terrence Mann is probably not going to get it done, at least in terms of the Clippers can't offer the best deal, but their interest speaks volumes because they have essentially unlimited money to work with. They're not worried about the financial ramifications of trading for De'Aaron Fox.
And 2 more teams. So right now, we've really done the national treasure thing here as far as trying to figure out who probably called the Kings or who the Kings called. You got the Rockets and maybe the Lakers that were there was, again, just because the team called, it's, well, we want Austin Reeves. The Lakers say, well, that's not happening. So dozens of teams, again, that's a fine term to use and that can make people feel very excited. But Rockets, Lakers, Magic, the Heat, and the Clippers, that's 5 teams right there. You put in the Spurs, that's 6, okay? And we're just assuming here. Now we have 2 more teams. This is from Brett Siegel, who was on with us yesterday. He puts this out today. Sources said other teams to inquire about Fox's availability in Sacramento include the Minnesota Timberwolves and Toronto Raptors. So that puts us at 8. Now, a path to possibly landing Fox would be extremely difficult for the Timberwolves, and it's unlikely since they have to move Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels. I mean, I'd love that to get out of the second apron. Jaden McDaniels does have a lot of fans in the Kings front office, sources said. And he goes on to say, one should never count out the Raptors from pulling off a big unexpected move for a star. Masai Ujiri is always very precise when it comes to setting his organization up to make big moves, and it's become clear that the Raptors want to find another young star to pair with Scotty Barnes. I mean, I know Scotty Barnes, he took his leap last season, but there are ways, I mean, does that kickstart them? And okay, now they make a couple other moves. I don't see De'Aaron wanting to be a part of that. The timelines are a smidge off. I mean, De'Aaron is closer to 30. Isn't Scotty like 24?
I mean,
maybe 25
De'Aaron's
now?
27. That's not that far off, but De'Aaron's in his prime, and arguably Scotty Barnes is entering his prime. But either way, I mean, it's another one of those situations where you check in, but that deal can't happen in the regular season, just based on where the Raptors are organizationally. Because that would be one of those things where the Raptors don't have a big enough, I guess Quickly maybe, but I assume they'd want to keep Quickly, is like they don't have a big enough contract to match. So it'd be like 4 players lumped in for one Fox or Fox and Herter or something like that. So those are more off-season ones, which is kind of the story. I mean, you just listed the 8 teams. What? I mean, like 5 of those 8 teams can only make the move in the offseason. So this is kind of, I think, what Sam was alluding to, is like more teams could get in the game theoretically if the Sacramento Kings wait to the offseason. But at that point, then they'd be on a clock of you have to trade him before September.
Right. And there's some stuff still coming through here about De'Aaron and different deals, and I'm continuing to get tagged and stuff. But unless we know for sure that this thing is going down, I'm waiting it out. I'm waiting it out.
Well, so here's the interesting thing, as I see you responding to some text here real quick. The other thing that is interesting is all these teams don't have the guarantee of De'Aaron Fox. So we have some things here. Here, the Clippers deal we talked about earlier would essentially be Terrence Mann, Derek Jones Jr., PJ Tucker as salary filler, and a couple of not great draft picks. I guess maybe you could say the Clippers' unprotected 2030 draft pick could be worth something, but the Clippers don't even have like premium draft picks to work with. And the Magic, I mean, we talked to Jason yesterday over at the Orlando Sentinel. It's like they probably wouldn't trade Anthony Black. They probably wouldn't trade Jalen Suggs. I mean, they can't trade Jalen Suggs until after the deadline. So a lot of these deals are for the 3rd or 4th best players on these teams. And maybe you could argue some of the young guys will project into something, but for the most part, you're getting the 3rd, 4th, or even 5th best players on these teams back in return, which is why it's important to negotiate with San Antonio first, because San Antonio is the team willing to offer the most, because they have that reassurance that they're trading for 6 years of De'Aaron Fox instead of potentially 2 years of De'Aaron Fox, or if we get to the offseason, 1 year of De'Aaron Fox.
There are some Spurs media members, Ty Yeager, Evan Townsend, saying, buckle up. This was 20 minutes ago. Ty Yeager says the Spurs and Kings are going to run down the clock, seeing who can get the other to fold on certain demands. If anything happens, it's probably next week, closer to the deadline. San Antonio wants to keep Castle, so they'll try to facilitate additional teams or push the Kings to fold on that front. So, yeah, the Sack Chat was freaking me out here, but it feels like, again, just like the John Collins deal, something is close, but there's always that 1 or 2 holdup. A couple of things that just will continue to hold it up.
Wow, so it seems like they're actually going to put a deal together in like 4 days versus all of the what if we get John Collins, or what if we do this, or what if we do that. That seems kind of strange.
Yeah, and we got the we got the information this morning that we thought that it was moving in a different direction, as far as maybe that was, hey, no Castle, no deal. And maybe the Spurs, the posturing back and forth, same like I've been talking about, now that De'Aaron is off the market, right? If Sacramento says, you know what, if there's no Castle, we'll just you can try your luck in the offseason. We don't think that the relationship is that far gone. And maybe the Spurs said, wait, hold on. What if we can add another team to the mix? So that's what this thing is going to be. But it's very clear the Spurs do not want to give up Stephon Castle. So they're going to try to see if they can get there, or they're going to fold and give the Kings Stephon Castle. One of the two.
But why would they do that? I feel like it's pretty clear Stephon Castle's not going to be in this trade. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand why the Spurs, in the middle of a Rookie of the Year season for Stephon Castle, would give him up. Because as great as De'Aaron Fox is, Stephon Castle, like, I know it's a weak draft class and all of that, but like De'Aaron Fox didn't win Rookie of the Year. Like,
well, yeah, I know, but so did Michael Carter-Williams. So let's look. All I'm saying is both sides are posturing. If Stephon, again, the more this dude gets raised up as far as his value, the Spurs could be playing it so that they don't have to give up future picks. That's all. That's why I could see it happening. If we don't know if they truly think that this dude should not be moved, or on the other side, if they don't think De'Aaron Fox is good enough to move Stephon Castle. Or is this all posturing in a way where they can say Stephon Castle's untouchable, fine, take him, but in reality, they were able to do it and keep their picks?
Yeah, that's the interesting part of it, though, because my kind of thinking is that Stephon Castle might be available this offseason when they have a chance to kind of sit back and reevaluate everything. I think the one thing that changes it, obviously, is what does Wemby want? Does Wemby think that they can get in the race this year? Does he want to get Fox here as soon as possible? Is he ready for him to be that guy? That changes the conversation, obviously, and I don't know how the Spurs organization is run.
I don't know if they're going to Wemby yet for this type of stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just, how do the Spurs navigate this? I just don't know the inner work, even though I have a book on the Spurs. I don't really know the inner working of the Spurs front office or how that organization is trying to navigate this situation, or even like where they value Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson and these other players potentially compared to De'Aaron Fox either.
Let's get to the other side. We'll hear from Bobby Marks when we return, who is on with the morning show, and we will open up the phone lines, 916-329-1140. Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Oh, please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
breathing in the refund.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Is something happening right now? A bunch of people posting a bunch of random stuff, but what can we believe? Right now, De'Aaron Fox is a Sacramento King until he's not. That's what I'm believing. And when you look at some of the different situations that could happen for the Kings, it's Godfather offer, or we'll talk to you in the summer. That's what it feels like where the Kings are at, right? Or something that makes us feel they know the court of public opinion. They dealt with this with Tyrese Halliburton. This has to be a clear win for the Sacramento Kings. They cannot even leave this up to question. This can't even be a Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis conversation. It has to be literally the Kings took care of business straight up. And you know what? Wouldn't have moved on from De'Aaron, but if somebody feels that way, everybody should say whether you wanted to move on from De'Aaron or not. At least the Kings clearly won this situation. Now you got to hit on the picks, or they got somebody back that is going to keep this thing rolling. So it's very clear here what that situation is. Kyle, let's get to what Bobby Marks had to say. And we have a couple clips coming from Bobby Marks, but just the initial one on the morning show about this De'Aaron Fox situation.
Is there a financial benefit to De'Aaron, Clutch Sports, that whole group, for him being traded now, let's say before the deadline, as opposed to the offseason?
Yeah, about a $10 million incentive, because if he's traded now, let's say if he goes to San Antonio, they'll have cap flexibility. They can renegotiate his contract in the offseason. What that means is that his $37 million salary, they can increase it to roughly $47 million and then extend off that. If he's traded in the offseason, he wouldn't be renegotiation eligible until I think January-ish. By that time, you probably won't have that flexibility to do it. So yeah, there is an added incentive as far as for him to get traded, traded right now, just from that renegotiation standpoint.
Great stuff. So yeah, there's the 10 million, and then there's obviously the extending with that team versus entering free agency, and how all of that can change quite quickly. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Jaime, who wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Jaime? What you got for us?
What's up, Styles? Hey, man, I've been kind of down a little bit with the whole Fox thing since the news broke. I love Fox. I love Kings, obviously. Hello?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so if Fox goes, if he don't stay, I'm never gonna wear his jersey again. I'm gonna put it away. I hope that we beat him on our first match when he comes back to town, or whenever we match up with him again. I hope Sabonis posterizes him. So, but if he stays, then all is forgiven. So. That's all I got. Appreciate it.
It's like that, Javi? It's like that, Jaime? It's like that, Jaime? Come on, man. Sorry about that. We had another caller on the line. Jaime, after all that, you're going to sit here and not wear his jersey anymore? But this is what I was saying. I don't know how stuff is going to get looked at. Everything needs to come to light, right? Because there are some people that feel like De'Aaron didn't do enough. There are some people that feel De'Aaron wasn't given enough, which is, two sides to be on. But I hope we don't see the burn, and Jaime didn't see this. I hope we don't see the burn jersey thing, right?
Yeah, and that would be, again, I don't want to tell people how to fan. Again, you can fan how you want to fan. It's just not my forte. It's like some people are rooting for the name on the front of the jersey and not the name on the back of the jersey, right? It's about Sacramento, and if you're not with us, you're against us. When I reiterate the point I've made, De'Aaron Fox has done nothing wrong here. The worst thing you could argue De'Aaron Fox has done is not be willing to sign an extension right now when, one, financially
last couple of years, it wasn't just this year.
Starting in the summer was the first time he could sign an extension. So between this summer, when he was 2 years away from free agency, didn't sign an extension, didn't show indication he was going to sign an extension now. Like, he hasn't done anything wrong here. The Kings are the one that made this a story by shopping him before the trade deadline. And if people want to be upset just because he's not going to be like, I'm all in on Sacramento, I want to be here, that's fine. But up to this point, he's handled it professionally. He hasn't requested a trade. Even after the Kings tried to shop him, I think it would have been well within his right to say, oh, you guys are going to try and pull a fast one on me and try and trade me before the deadline? Okay, now I don't want to play for you anymore. And he hasn't done that yet. So I understand people saying it's the with us or against us thing, but it's hard for me to get behind that when he's provided so much for the Kings. And sure, they didn't get to the winning portions, but as I said before, he's going to have his jersey retired by the organization even if he doesn't play another game with the team at this point. So
yeah,
I understand putting the jersey away, but I hope it's not against Fox, because like I said, he hasn't done anything wrong up to this point.
Well, I think the reality is it is nowhere near as egregious as some of the other exits that we've seen. Kyrie, you have the James Harden situation, even Anthony Davis. And I know there's been a lot of comparisons to Anthony Davis, but I don't even think it's a similar situation there. I think where this thing gets tough is when you look at the roster, specifically the starting lineup. The question is belief versus where this thing was going, because it is a better roster than it was a couple years ago. And De'Aaron does have his boy Malik Monk, who is starting to ascend, and Domantas Sabonis, who, even though he gets snubbed every season, is one of the best bigs in the league. And you have DeMar DeRozan as that escape valve. There are nights where you're wondering, where is De'Aaron Fox at, right? There are no nights when you wonder, where is Luka at? That's not to say he's on every game. There are no nights where you wonder where SGA is at. That's not to say he's on every game. But there are nights when you wonder, does De'Aaron feel like playing tonight? And I do think that there is a level of you're asking for help. And that is why I think this thing got a bit sticky, because you're asking for help, but the team is not playing as well as it can right now. And you are part of the team. If you were a 7 seed, a 6 seed, whatever it is, let's have a conversation. After the Beam Team season, when they decided to run it back, yeah, that was a mistake, right? That was clearly a mistake. Keeping Harrison Barnes, you had to upgrade that position. Sasha Vezenkov, that was a complete mess. Chris Duarte, you took some swings, right? Davion Mitchell, it didn't work out. Moving forward after that, though, these teams, if you look at the Western Conference right now, I think here's the argument, and again, I'm not switching this to put any blame on De'Aaron Fox, but if you look at the Western Conference right now and who is at the top of it, would you give up some of your young talents or give up the farm for De'Aaron Fox when you're looking at a team, and I know they fired the head coach and things like that, but would you give up, if you really believe in Stephon Castle that much, and you look at the Western Conference, there's the Thunder, and you have the Rockets, who the Rockets don't have a pure number one, but they're sitting in the 2 seed. The Grizzlies are just as good without Ja Morant as they are with Ja Morant. The Nuggets have Jokic. The Lakers have LeBron. The Clippers, I mean, I think a lot of people off the top of their head, and I know Norman Powell has played really well. I'd have to compare his numbers to a Malik Monk and or DeMar DeRozan, but those guys are probably combining for what Norman Powell is doing. If I were to say who's better right now, everybody's going to say De'Aaron Fox and James Harden. James Harden's an all-star. James Harden's playing really well, got them in the 6th seed, right? So then you have an Anthony Edwards. You have a Luka, who Luka hasn't played. The Suns, we know they're kind of a mess right now. And then you have the Sacramento Kings. So if it's a matter of I'm going to give up the farm, you're going to give up the farm for a De'Aaron Fox who is top 30, right? Again, a lot of these names, if we go through the list of teams that have called and we're starting to do process of elimination, the Rockets are out. for now. We'll see what happens in the offseason. Lakers, he would be number 3 there. The Magic, he would be some version of a 2, I
Offensive
think.
2.
Sure.
But that's just because of Paolo and Franz is a defensive duo.
The Heat, you have, I don't know, Tyler Hero's an all-star. I know it's the Eastern Conference, but he's not a pure number 1. The Clippers, not a pure number 1. The Timberwolves, he ain't a number 1. The Raptors, I'm not really, I'm seeing the report from Brett Siegel, but the Raptors, I just don't think it's going to happen. And maybe they think Scotty Barnes would be their number 1. So I understand the Spurs cause to pause on him. If you can get, and we'd have to look at the contract, if you're Victor Wembanyama and you're dealing with the Hawks, right? You could get Trae Young for a cheaper price. Is it that big of a difference and you can keep Stephon Castle? I think that when you get to the summer, the Spurs are interested in De'Aaron Fox, but that doesn't mean that's the only player that they're interested in. We know De'Aaron's only interested in the Spurs. So where's that power leverage right now? That's a conversation too. We have more from Bobby Marks on the other side. More De'Aaron Fox news when we get back. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPFest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
This 49er Injury Report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there.
After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We have some new information. Brian Windhorst, and again, this is the levels that we're talking about. Brian Windhorst, if there was a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka on the table, they might consider it as far as the Spurs. But I don't know if De'Aaron Fox rises to that level. They may believe Castle will be comparable to Fox in a couple of years. That's what I took from it. If they're so high on this kid, then it is what it is. But the Kings still have to figure out what they're going to do. And in part, this is from Dusty Garza. This is coming out of San Antonio. A couple people were sending it to me on social media and also on the SAC chat. This is from Dusty Garza, NBA writer and analyst for local news in San Antonio. So he says, it has not been announced, but sources are telling me that the De'Aaron Fox trade to the Spurs is very close to being completed, if not already done. More details to come as they come in. Details are coming in, but it appears to be a multi-team trade with several moving parts. Stay tuned for more. I will be on either radio or television bringing you all the details. So that's from Dusty Garza. All right. And what to do with that right now? Not sure. Don Harris, another San Antonio Spurs reporter. Source, Spurs very active and perhaps close on complicated 4-team deal that would bring De'Aaron Fox to San Antonio. Stay tuned.
Even though he misspelled De'Aaron in his tweet. He is a real reporter, even though he misspelled
That's what
De'Aaron.
I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Sam Amick and all these, and I know they're in the San Antonio area, but Jake Fisher, Sam Amick, all these guys in on this, and these reporters got hold of it first. I don't know.
Why is that surprising? Our local guys got to the story before Shams got to it.
Yeah, it depends on the story.
Sure.
Depends on the story.
But again, their negotiations. This doesn't mean it's going to happen today. This doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. It's just the Spurs have a potential framework for a deal, potentially, maybe, for De'Aaron, spelled D''Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing with that?
If the trade doesn't go through, can we make this our arson judge? Can this be our arson judge for De'Aaron Fox spelled incorrectly?
Yeah, and this is Don Harris, who he's got the verification. He could have fixed the.
No, he's a real person.
Don says, I've done this a long time. 98% of the time, NBA trade talks, rumors, scenarios fall apart or are different than the stuff that agents and GMs float or leak. So anything can happen, but folks are busy. Nothing done yet as far as I know. So there's the caveat. And look, I'm not saying it is or isn't going to happen. I'm not saying I don't believe these guys. I'm saying I'm just going to wait for when it's official.
No, we don't have to just start blasting sirens or being, oh my God, it's happening. No, it's not. It's just this is the natural progression, right? We played the Brian Windhorst sound earlier about the Kings and Spurs were talking about trades. The Kings were hoping to covet Stephon Castle. Here, it's short. I'll play the clip for you again. This was this morning.
The San Antonio Spurs are the team that everyone's watching because that is the team that apparently Fox wants to go to. He's got 1 year left on his contract. So if he goes to a team where he tends to sign, that's going to be something. But Stephon Castle is the key factor in that one because Castle is the key piece that you would want in that deal, and they love Castle.
I hear it.
So they're talking.
Yeah, but these guys are trying to make it seem like this thing is accelerating quickly.
Yeah, but these trades don't come together that quickly. I mean, the framework is pretty simple. If you're going to get either Vassell or Castle, and then depending on who you get, either Keldon Johnson or Sohan, and then, they figure out the draft picks later. If it's the Spurs one, I think that's the only team that I could see this deal getting done, say this weekend, because every other team is just way too complicated to put it together. And even the Spurs one is complicated. If they're talking about, Don Harris said verbatim, complicated 4-team deal for this mystery player named Aaron Fox. But I would still say it's probably, this is just the natural progression, right? They know what the deal is going to look like if it's going to come true. Now it's just, do the Spurs want to do it or do the Kings want to do it? And I think, like the information you gave earlier, that answer is probably going to be no. And they'll probably just carry that same framework into the offseason.
Just making it seem like this thing, it's 530 says, how about this? Fox has done all he can, but it also hasn't been enough. And that's him, but also management not getting him more. I think that is probably the text of the day, 530, because that's how I feel about it, right? In this specific season, they should not be the 11th seed, but their bench is also bad. And that's no disrespect to the dudes on the bench. But when we are up in arms because Keon has gone into a cold streak, that kind of illustrates where we're at right now in this thing and where the bench is right now. So that's how I think it would be remembered, and that's how a lot of things in life tend to go. Fox is not a pure number one on a championship team, and in part because of that, he needed more help. He could win you a championship if he had the right pieces, and the Kings did not get them the right pieces. When you look at what Luka did going to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago when they had Jalen Brunson, that's Luka, right? And there are, we'll see what happens with SGA this season. If they lose early, what do we do with that? The Timberwolves really only have a little bit more playoff experience, and specifically Anthony Edwards, and they tried to build they are building around Anthony Edwards, and I think Anthony Edwards I would put Anthony Edwards in a different category than De'Aaron Fox, but he doesn't have all the, he has more accolades, right? But he doesn't have a ton more success than De'Aaron. So it's also hard to win in this league, right? And there's nothing wrong with saying that either. So I think that's spot on, 530. Spot on. He did all he can. It wasn't enough. Kings didn't get him enough help for who he was.
And injuries kind of derailed last season too.
Yeah, and maybe they get that 6 seed last season, and they make some noise if Malik Monk doesn't get hurt, and maybe Kevin Huerter figures it out. I don't know more about Malik Monk,
or Kevin Huerter also doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, so we'll never know. But if this thing does end, I would say that both sides have responsibility in, I guess, the quote-unquote lack of success, if you will. And again, there's still a game going on. There's still a game going on tomorrow night, and the Kings got to make sure that they don't get embarrassed out there. Let's do our AEW giveaway on the other side. Also, there's a report of Vivek hitting the friendly skies to meet with De'Aaron Fox. How true is it? Let's get into it. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip-off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884. Happy New Grill. Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Give your family a real treat as we did on Christmas Eve. Bring out all the flavors of the new year with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Complete with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Whitey and Napoleon Grills wish you Happy New Year. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. SubcontractorsUnited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
Please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
Reeling in the refund.
limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures, until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
What's up? We're talking again to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram in Woodland. Chad, tell us what's happening for the Start Something New sales events.
Check out the world of electric when you lease a new 2024 Dodge Hornet RT Plus plug-in for as low as $99 a month for 24 months with $39.95 due at signing. And these things get 77 MPGE. My sister has one and she loves it.
Wow, that's 3 times the miles per gallon of my car.
It is pretty impressive how much money you can save at the pump. But we also have a huge selection of used cars at the Hoblet Certified Pre-Owned Supercenter with over 200 vehicles available and 40 under $20,000.
See their full selection at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
Lease of $99 for 24 months is before tax and license. Must be California resident. Includes 6,500 SFS hybrid electric federal tax credit and 2,500 West SFS lease cash. Must finance through Stellantis. $39.95 due at signing. 7,500 miles per year. 30 cents per mile over. Tax and license extra. 7 net savings. Sample MSRP 51,370 VIN A20366. See dealer for details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox is on the pursuit of happiness. But does that mean he is headed out of Sacramento? Sam Rodriguez on the Sack Chat says, Don Harris is legit. Long-time sports journalist. Don Harris in the last segment. We were having some fun with his typo. And De'Aaron is not an easy name to spell. I've had to type it so many times when we're doing the show that I have it memorized now. But it is not an easy name to spell. But Don Harris, he had some kind of notes on De'Aaron Fox.
It's the apostrophe that sometimes gets me. Sometimes I'll just type out De'Aaron Fox and I'm like, oh, that's right. You got to put the apostrophe.
That's right. That's right. And Don Harris, a couple San Antonio Spurs reporters reporting that the Kings and Spurs are nearing a multi-team deal. We've seen details as far as a 4-team deal. We've seen a conversation saying, hey, you never know what could happen, which we know. You never know what could happen. This is what Dusty Garza had to say yesterday, who's another Spurs reporter. And it came out in the morning, but we were all trying to figure out what the reality or how true all of it was. So he said, sources tell me Kings owner Vivek Ranadive is flying to OKC, where Sacramento plays on Saturday, for a sit-down dinner with De'Aaron Fox. I'm told he's on a mission to convince Fox to stay in Sacramento. No word on whether Rich Paul of Clutch will be there. So Dusty getting a lot of this information. Kyle, I think we have an hour left. His DMs are open. I think I'm gonna shoot him a DM, see if we can get him on the show before the show ends. So that's what he said. And a lot of people, he goes on to say there's nothing illegal about that. You can do it, right? So nobody knew if Clutch was going to be there, and this was Vivek wanting to keep De'Aaron, and that obviously did not happen yet. I think it would have been tonight or would be tonight, because obviously they play tomorrow night. So that's what San Antonio, some of their reporters are talking about, and whether or not it's truly going to go down, that is the question. What do you think, Kyle?
I don't know. It's kind of interesting because the deal has legs to it, obviously. I mean, it's not that hard to put together the framework. It's just, even the deal might get done before then, but I would understand if Vivek wants to meet beforehand. And I don't know where the relationship is at between him and De'Aaron. I know Vivek's been a big fan of De'Aaron's in the past, but it's just like, I don't know how this equation changes it. Obviously, they don't make the move with a move this gigantic without sign off from the man at the very top. So him coming into Vivek making the journey to Oklahoma City potentially tonight is an interesting development, to say the least.
It definitely is. And another interesting development will be you going to see the All Elite Wrestling Dynamite at Sacramento Memorial. Win a pair of tickets to All Elite Wrestling at Sacramento Memorial Auditorium on March 5th. All Elite Wrestling brings you an action-packed night of professional wrestling as AEW Dynamite invades the Sacramento Memorial Auditorium on March 5th. We're looking for lucky caller number.
Should we just wrap up the week with it?
Sure.
5 again?
5 again. 5 again.
Number 5 until De'Aaron, not spelled correctly, gets traded.
That's right. 916-339-1140. 916-339-1140. If you want to go check out All Elite Wrestling. Kyle is going to handle those phone lines. I am literally sending a message right now to Dusty Garza and trying to get him on the show before it ends to just kind of hear from the horse's mouth what's going on here. And hopefully he can give us some information. Kyle, let me finish this up, as I know you're looking at the phone lines. You can freestyle, Kyle. Give me 1 minute.
You want me to just go?
Just freestyle. I'll tell you when I send the DM.
All right, sounds good. All right, so the Sacramento Kings, it looks like so as we were talking about before, the 4-team trade that looks like it's going to be happening potentially would not include Stephon Castle, which, like we've been talking about, obviously the Sacramento Kings would covet Stephon Castle. However, as I've been saying all week, I just don't understand why San Antonio would move on from Stephon Castle if we're talking about Stephon Castle's entire value is predicated on his potential, right? And whether San Antonio believes he's going to be an all-star player or not is besides the point. He's in the middle of a Rookie of the Year campaign, and I know Kings fans will make the argument, Stephon Castle isn't really worth that Rookie of the Year. It's a weak draft class, so therefore is he really that good? But I think besides the point, making a giant move like that in the middle of the season is tough, especially when San Antonio in last year's draft essentially said, we don't need the number 8 pick in the draft. We will send that to Minnesota and we'll just take a deferred future draft pick to just prioritize developing Stephon Castle. So making a trade with the Kings would clear out some of those roster spots and open up space for San Antonio to then make subsequent moves to add to the team. We talked before, I believe Evan mentioned that it would probably be Fox and Herter moving because that matches Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson's salaries exactly. So if that's the framework of the deal, you move those two, move in 2 players, and then it's a pick space package. We're hearing that there might be a 4-team deal involved, so it's hard to project who might be coming back or what draft picks it'll look like. So the Stephon Castle of it all, I think, is such an interesting conversation. And like I've been saying all week, and we're getting confirmations from the Brian Windhorse, from the Sam Amick's, from the Jake Fishers, even some local reporters are talking about it. They're not going to get Stephon Castle. And at the very least right now, that's just not an option that's on the table. And so I feel like we should be adjusting our expectations on what that deal is going to look like because Stephon Castle is not on the table. And maybe we're asking ourselves, do we just say, Stephon Castle, we can't have him, we'll push it to the offseason. Maybe we won't get him at all, but at least we might have a better chance of doing so in the offseason when everyone has a chance to sit back and reevaluate where their organizations stand. I see you looking up from your phone, so I'm going to grab one of these AEW winners now.
Thank you, Kyle. Nicely done. Yes, the DM has been sent to Dusty Garza, who covers the Spurs. Going to try to get him on before the show ends, and if not, maybe by Monday. Who knows what's going on? If this is still the story on Monday as far as whether the deal has already gone through. So I will keep you up to date if I get a response there. Kyle has found our winner for the All Elite Wrestling AEW Dynamite. So congrats to our winner. As far as the Jimmy Butler situation goes and how that connects to De'Aaron Fox, and you heard Sam Amick talk about the Miami Heat and how they could kind of crisscross applesauce, and I don't see that happening. Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go to Sacramento, and De'Aaron, from what we've heard, doesn't really want to go to Miami. So I don't see that happening. A new team, and again, this is from the Stein line, a new team has emerged as a potential trade suitor for Jimmy Butler, and this is just hilarious to me. The New Orleans Pelicans have this week registered interest in trading for Butler. League sources tell the Stein line. The Pelicans truly don't know what they're doing. They truly don't know what they're doing. I mean, is there a world where Zion goes to Miami? I don't know that Zion and Bam Adebayo is really a great fit. A lot of people are talking about Khalil Ware and the fact that he is opening up the floor for Bam. I don't know that you want to lose Jimmy Butler. I guess Zion's more dynamic, but if you get, I guess you could go in the Brandon Ingram direction, but why would the Pelicans want Jimmy Butler? I don't understand that. I could understand why the Heat might want Brandon Ingram. I don't understand why the Pelicans would want Jimmy Butler. By the time we come back Monday, what are the chances De'Aaron Fox will or won't be a Sacramento King? We hear from you. And 916-339-1140, when it comes to how De'Aaron Fox will be remembered if he is gone, are you like Jaime? Are you going to never wear his jersey again? Or do you feel like De'Aaron did what he could and you're still going to rock number 5 forever? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Fisher Investments. We may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Here's a resolution that's easy to keep. Grab the keys to a new Toyota truck and make every day an adventure. Get a low-cost lease on the iconic Tacoma, or get 1.99% APR or $2,000 cash back on the powerful Tundra. Every new Toyota includes Toyota Care, 2 years of complimentary scheduled maintenance. Resolve to live it up this year in a new Toyota truck. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium ready credit at 2-325.
Hey, it's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and the regular season is over, but the high hand bonuses, those are not. $500 per primetime football game, whether it's weekend, Monday night, whatever it may be. And those bonuses available until the season ends, including the big game on February 9th. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's time to turn up the volume on live entertainment. Check out the Sacktown Sports live events calendar for the hottest events and shows coming your way. On February 18th, catch the incredible Miles Kennedy at Ace of Spades. His powerful vocals and raw talent will leave you speechless. Then gear up for an adrenaline-packed night with a Thunder Showdown boxing event at Thunder Valley on March 8th. Who will come out on top in the ring? Be there to find out. On March 9th, don't miss the legendary John Oates live at the Crest Theater, bringing you iconic hits and timeless melodies. If you're a country fan, mark your calendar for March 16th, when Alexandra Kay brings her heartfelt songs to Ace of Spades for an unforgettable evening. And on March 29th, get ready to rock the night away as Papa Roach and Rise Against take over the Golden One Center with an electrifying performance. Don't miss these amazing events. For more information and your chance to win tickets, head to SacktownSports.com. Sacktown Sports, your front row seat to the Sacramento area's best live entertainment.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacramento's official home of the 49ers.
San Francisco.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
So if Stephon Castle isn't in the deal, and I have not heard back from Dusty Garza, analyst who covers the San Antonio Spurs. I'm waiting to hear back. If that is the case, but it's a 4-team deal, I guess I'm okay with that if it is a 4-team deal. I would just need to know, and we don't know yet, who the Kings are getting instead, right? Because that's fine if you're not getting Stephon Castle, but you better be getting someone, or you're going full tank.
Well,
right?
Here's what I'll say. I don't think the fact that it's a 4-team deal means they're going to get a player better than Stephon Castle. They might get a win now player out of the deal, but just because it's a 4-team deal doesn't mean they're going to get a better player. Because in order for the Spurs to get De'Aaron Fox, they're going to have to give up De'Aaron Fox value somewhere. Does that mean Castle's going to go to another team? I doubt it. It's probably just Devin Vassell getting rerouted, or Keldon Johnson getting or Kevin Huerter's contract getting rerouted to Utah.
You know what I was thinking? Earlier in the show, we talked about the disgruntled, or the stars that really don't know what the deal is or what their purpose is. And I brought up Trae Young, who they're the 9 seed in the East. All they do is go to the play-in every single season, and all he does is get snubbed and go to the play-in every single season. So I said, you know what? What if the Kings could get Trae Young? Do you know how bad? I mean, it would be really funny because you almost would never play Trae Young and Malik Monk together. You'd have to send Malik to the bench and play Keon Ellis. You would never play them together. Defensively, you could not do it.
Yeah, they would just be the Hawks with Domantas Sabonis.
You could not do it. And I forgot about DeMar DeRozan. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, but I don't even want to play that game because, like, the Hawks, if the Hawks wouldn't trade Trae Young the last 2 years, why would they just all of a sudden trade him now? Because De'Aaron Fox is this transcendent player that they can't live without.
But who is that win now player? And I saw Dwayne earlier on the Sack Chat. Why would the Kings want a guard back? I'm just not really. I think this guard conversation has, just because you have a lot of something doesn't mean that you have a good quantity. And to me, and that's not to say that's not the Kings' fault, but I would want another I would want a ball handler back in a deal. I would also want a wing. Sure, because that's what the Kings have been missing. But I can't see doing this deal. If this deal nets you back a bunch of picks, a wing, depending on who the wing, if the wing is, if the wing is Trey Murphy or something, sure, who can handle the basketball. But if it's a non-ball handling wing like John Collins, if you got John Collins and Valanciunas and a bunch of picks back for the Kings, I guess I could see a world where that works, but I just think you do not have enough ball handlers on. You have you have guards like GP2 on the Warriors is a guard. GP2 is not a ball handler.
Yeah, but on the Warriors championship team, he was a forward. It's just
exactly. He didn't, because they had enough ball handlers on this Kings team. If GP2 was in a deal, I would say no, that's not a guard that you need. And fine, we can take position out of it. The Kings, if they move on from De'Aaron Fox, they need another playmaker. Doesn't have to be a guard. Take the title off of it. But they have one playmaker right now, Malik Monk. That's it.
I think we're getting a little too into the nitty-gritty of it here because...
How do you figure?
I'm just saying that the roster, you have no idea what it's going to look like. Because you said, like, okay, if at the end of as the dust settles, sure, if they end up with Devin Vassell, Jonas Valanciunas, John Collins, and draft picks, you say that could work. And I just looked at that, say, work to what?
I don't know.
To what end?
But that's why people are just saying blow it up.
Yeah, but blow it up, that people shouldn't be worried about guards or forwards or bigs, because if you blow it up, the roster at the end of the blow up is going to be completely different than the roster as it is right now.
No, but I'm talking about I'm saying to attempt the retool. I don't want to blow it up.
That's not blowing it up. I guess
I'm not trying to blow it up. Yeah. I'm trying to talk myself into the retool, but those that are saying well, we don't need to get a guard back. It doesn't have to be about a position. The Kings don't have enough playmakers if they move on from De'Aaron Fox.
What is your definition of the retool, though? Because when I hear retool, I think you're exchanging draft picks and the compensation you get back from the Spurs or whoever else for a Brandon Ingram, for a Zach LaVine. I'm not thinking of it as
you're getting it in that deal.
I'm not thinking of a retool as they're acquiring 3 forwards, starting Malik Monk at the point guard, and we'll go from there. That, to me, sounds like a rebuilding trade, because they can then trade those players a year from now for draft picks or for, do the Utah thing.
When I think retool, and I'm trying to think honestly of a successful retool, and 916-339-1140, help us out here. Who is a successful retool? The Westbrook, Paul George, that era, they went to the playoffs, right? They just lost?
Yeah, they went to the first round of the playoffs 3 years in a row with Paul George and Westbrook, but one of the years Paul George tore his rotator cuff, so he wasn't there for the playoff series. If I'm remembering back, so that's
a retool to me.
Yes, but do you remember, and I'm going to be super basketball nerd here, do you remember how they were able to pull off that retool?
Please tell the audience.
So after Kevin Durant left, they made a trade that was essentially they gave up Serge Ibaka, who was still, kind of a guy at that point. They gave up Serge Ibaka to Orlando in exchange for Victor Oladipo, who Orlando had decided they didn't want to sign to a long-term second contract, and the number 12 pick in the NBA draft. That was the trade. The 12 pick in the draft ended up becoming Domantas Sabonis. And so a year later, after playing Oladipo, that year Westbrook won MVP. Oladipo was the star 2 who was playing with Westbrook, and they lost in the first round to the Rockets. After that, they flipped Oladipo and a rookie Domantas Sabonis, or, just finishing his rookie year, for Paul George. I think there was a draft pick in there too, but basically they got Paul George for Serge Ibaka. And that was a great maneuvering of trades to get to a place where they were even able to acquire Paul George in the first place.
Yes.
I don't think that's what this is for the Kings. The Kings would have to make 2 or 3 subsequent trades to then be in a position to do the retooling thing.
Well, and maybe that's part of it too. And they decide, do we want to do that? Or after we move on from De'Aaron, you would get a King's ransom for Domantas Sabonis. You would get a decent return for DeMar DeRozan as well, I think, because the situations might change a little bit. Now, I think the thing about DeMar DeRozan is the money, because what we heard is as much as he loved everything about Sacramento, a lot of people weren't willing to give him that money. Has that changed now for any of the teams that were maybe interested in DeMar DeRozan before? So ultimately, it's probably going to be, and again, the Thunder did all that and still ended up rebuilding, if you will. Russell Westbrook's no longer there, Paul George no longer there, and it worked out for them. So it's all about garnering assets and having assets. What you decide to, and that's why when people were going back and forth with me about, Malik Monk can't be a number 1, blah, 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 blah. Even if you are intending to blow something up, it doesn't have to happen immediately. And it can go, players can go as everything progresses. So you move on from De'Aaron Fox, that doesn't necessarily mean that Domantas Sabonis, that none of these dudes are going to be on the roster next season. It could mean that going into next season, they're available, but it doesn't mean that they're all going to everything. You have to tank now, and you need a completely different lineup by the time next season starts. That's not how this stuff goes.
No, and the Sacramento Kings would get more in a trade for Domantas Sabonis than they would get for De'Aaron Fox. So in that sense, if you're talking about the full teardown, the Kings are going to maximize value in whatever they get compensation-wise for Domantas Sabonis if they decided to do that down the line. This would be a first of subsequent moves, big or small,
right,
that would then lead to the teardown, which, by the way, this front office not going to get to do that, right?
That's also true.
This front office will not be around for the rebuild.
You
if
wouldn't
it came
think
to that.
You wouldn't think. So when you look at if De'Aaron Fox gets moved, a lot of people, and because you could always surprise yourself, right? Does it happen often? No. But again, the line in Sacramento is not necessarily the line in Sacramento is not necessarily championship. It's getting to the playoffs.
Think about it from the Oklahoma City example again we were just talking about. After they traded Russell Westbrook to the Rockets and Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers, they played a 7-game series in the bubble in the first round against Westbrook's Rockets with that Chris Paul, Lou Dort, Andre Roberson team that shocked everyone and was the 5 seed in the West, right?
Yeah.
Even after they started the teardown, they still got to a Game 7 against the team they had just acquired Chris Paul from in exchange for Russell Westbrook. It doesn't always go that way. Now, again, the Kings are not the Thunder. So we should probably look at other examples like the Rockets trading away James Harden or the Spurs trading away Kawhi Leonard or, other examples of people losing their franchise cornerstones and say, hey, this is the more common route across the league. I mean, even Utah, we can talk about that Donovan Mitchell trade. That Donovan Mitchell trade had a lot of first-round picks in it, but that deal doesn't look as good as it does without having Larry Markkinen be a throw-in piece in that trade and them developing Larry Markkinen after 3 teams had already given up on Larry Markkinen.
So, there are a lot of different ways to kind of look at what the future holds, but I will say this, even if look, anything can happen. We started off the show with me getting information that it feels like De'Aaron Fox isn't going to get moved before the trade deadline. Then now you have some Spurs reporters saying a 4-team deal, a multi-team deal is pretty close, and there's a framework for it. So this stuff is ever changing, but I feel fairly confident saying that just based on timing, you're not necessarily going to move on from De'Aaron Fox and be the Charlotte Hornets next season, right? Or the Blazers or whatever bad team you want to put in. You're not going to lose everybody. There will still be a respectable team. Will that team be good enough to go anywhere? But let's be honest here, and maybe this is a reason some people aren't afraid to move on from De'Aaron Fox. I mean, we're sitting here praying for the second round anyway. It ain't like we were sitting here, oh my goodness, Western Conference Finals. We're sitting here praying for second round, right? So going into next season, depending on what you get back from De'Aaron, I'm not going to say that this is necessarily going to happen, right? But there is a world where, I mean, the line was only second round anyway. You telling me that they can't mess around and end up in a second round? I think crazier things have happened, to Kyle's point. You never know what could happen year to year. All right, speaking of, this all has to start tomorrow night in OKC, where apparently Mr. Vivek will be in attendance. Still trying to get that confirmation from Mr. Dusty out there in San Antonio. Our Kings Thunder preview on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Saturday night, Kings and Thunder. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free. with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Keep getting tagged and stuff, but it's, and I'm not trying to, it wouldn't be called stereotyping, but I'm not trying to not believe people based on their follower count, but, I'm seeing stuff. This person has about 1,000 followers. Your number one source, and this is from Shot Coverage, your number one source for basketball quick, fast, and accurate, from Rob Peterson of Shot Coverage. I cover the NBA, former podcaster for Shot Coverage. He's got 2,400 followers. We have none of the same followers. Sources: the San Antonio Spurs are currently in trade discussions to potentially acquire De'Aaron Fox in a potential multi-team trade on the horizon. One of the teams being the Utah Jazz. Sources tell Shot Coverage. Is he just saying what the San Antonio people were saying? I mean, what are we doing? And that's no disrespect to Rob Peterson, but I don't know what to do with that. It's got 17 likes. This was 8 minutes ago. I cannot wait for this to be over. I can't wait for all of this to be over. 916-339-1140. The Kings have a game to play, and we're about to get into their preview, the Thunder Kings preview. And before we do that, we're going to get to Eric, who wants to be part of the conversation. 916-339-1140. About 45 more minutes if you want to be part of the conversation.'s up, Eric? What you got for us?
Hey, man, I just wanted to get in on this De'Aaron Fox conversation. I'm big fans of you guys' show, you guys' podcast. I watch the stuff, recorded and everything.
Thank you.
Lifetime Kings fan. But I'm going to be real. I don't agree that we have to tank. I think that there's a situation where we actually get better from a role-playing, and team fit, dynamic by picking up a guy like Castle, even taking Sohan and getting 3 first. Turn around if you do a 2-team trade and pick up Cameron Johnson. And at that point, you're not only in the play-in, but you got a chance to actually make some noise and be back next season with guys that you got Castle, Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, and Sohan, who's only 21 years old. I know everybody shits on him.
You were rolling, Eric, but we had to dump you. We had to dump you. Look, we know you're a huge fan of the show. We appreciate you, Eric, but we just had to dump you there. So, hey, look, he had some good points, Kyle. I'll give him that. And I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know that I realized. I hear both. Is it Sohan or Sohan?
Jeremy Sohan.
So it's Han, because I've heard Han.
All right, let me just get the definitive answer for you.
I don't know if I realized he was 23 or 21 years old. That's pretty nuts. How long has he been? He's been in the league for like 3 years.
Yeah, he's in his 3rd season. He was one of those one and done guys. Sohan.
He's been in the league for 3 years, 21 years old, goes 6'8".
Actually, I'm reading the description. It doesn't actually clarify whether it's Sohan or Sohan because it just says S-O-H-A-N. It doesn't actually tell you whether it's Sohan or Sohan.
Well, I would say this, and the YouTube chat is having some fun with that. If you're in the car, you missed it. Good catch there, Kyle. I will say this. There is a path to competing. Moving on from De'Aaron, if you flip those picks, just like Eric said. The question ultimately is, does the front office want to do that? And again, to your point, who's going to do it? So Monte, McNair, Wes Wilcox, a lot of people going back and forth on what they've been able to do, what they've not been able to do. So they're going to – it's a weird situation because you're going to let them make the De'Aaron Fox trade, then you're going to fire them and bring in somebody else to handle the assets, or you keep them and they essentially get a longer leash than De'Aaron Fox did. So it's a weird situation.
Which is also weird because this would be the point where Vivek could step in and say, I'm not letting you trade De'Aaron Fox, which would essentially be a death sentence for this front office if the ownership's not even... This is what happened with Farhan last year with the Giants.
This is kind of what TC was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sort of. I'm not going to give him too much credit.
He said a lot.
Yeah, I'm not going to give him too much credit, but at the same time, the Sacramento Kings, if they did that, would be saying this front office is not going to be here anymore. If they won't let them trade De'Aaron Fox, they won't be here after the season is over. But the flip side of that is right now might be a better offer than anything that's available this offseason because of that ticking clock situation, and you would have a new general manager and their first job is to trade De'Aaron Fox. So the Kings are kind of in that lose-lose situation here, and to that I say whether they should blow it up or whether they should, try and make it work or do the rebuild thing. My answer to that, to the caller's point, I'm not saying they should do that. My thing is, if they make the trade, I just want to see what they get back and then reevaluate from there, because the big thing about whether they're going to tear this thing down and rebuild, you can't do that with Domantas Sabonis on the roster because Domantas Sabonis is just too good of a player. He's an all-NBA player right now. You cannot tank with Domantas Sabonis on your roster. You can end up in Sacramento King purgatory of the 10, 11, 12 seed, but you're not going to be tank. Look at the Hawks. The Hawks landed the 1 pick last year in the draft, but they had like a 3% chance of getting it. Right. So the rebuild teardown thing is going to be from trading Sabonis and DeRozan after the fact. This is not the trade that's going to indicate that, which is why to say to that point, just let's wait it out and see what they get back in a trade if they make a trade, and then evaluate from there whether they're going to do a teardown or a rebuild. Because whatever they get back in this trade is not indicative of the future direction of the franchise.
Right. There could still be a bunch of flipping and other moves to be made as far as what direction the Kings want to go in if this whole thing happens. It's still crazy to me, Kyle, because we were going to get into our Kings Thunder preview, and it's still crazy to me because they have a game tomorrow. How are they supposed to play this game? That's the only reason why I think something might happen sooner rather than later, because they were zombies last game. You have the Thunder losing to the Warriors, missing Jonathan Kuminga and Draymond Green. Look, the Thunder, they like to bark during their press conferences, and normally we have the dog segment, but they're going to be more like sharks because they're going to be smelling blood in the water when the Sacramento when the Sacramento Kings come to town tomorrow night. I that's why this thing, either way, this game is cooked. I think
we'll do a preview later, but let me ask you this question. Over the last 6 games, this is courtesy of StatMuse, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 39.8 points a game. So in your mind, will Shai hit the over or the under on 39.8 points?
The only reason I don't think he will is because it won't be a close game.
Oh, wow. That's like the saddest possible response you could have given.
I'm sorry.
You could have said, I thought you were going to go because Keon Ellis will be guarding him at times.
Shai is like 6'6", 6'7". Keon doesn't want that smoke.
Wow.
And Devin Carter can't get off the bench, so.
Damn, that was the worst possible response.
I'm sorry.
No, because they're going to blow them out by so many points.
I'm telling you, look, hopefully this is a reverse jinx. I don't know. All right, let's get into that. Let's get into that preview on the other side. Still got time for calls and texts. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With over 500 new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CRV, HRV, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-235-5588. That's 800-235-5588. 800-235-5588.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Hey, it's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, and the regular season is over, but the high hand bonuses, those are not. $500 per primetime football game, whether it's weekend, Monday night, whatever it may be. And those bonuses available until the season ends, including the big game on February 9th. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. Please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Well. We have an update. And Kyle, you got me on the single box for this. I feel like I'm Stephen A. Smith. You got me on the single box for this, Kyle. So we have an update. As we mentioned, we reached out to Dusty Garza, who covers the San Antonio Spurs for News for San Antonio. And he is a writer, analyst, covers the team. And I reached out to Dusty. Dusty's running around. There's a lot going on right now, but he was nice enough to reply back to me, and we have a message, and he's got information that I'm going to share with you right now. They have the structure that Dusty reported on, the 4-team deal, okay? So 4-team deal that's in place right now. Obviously, nothing is in Sharpie or nothing is in stone. Out of the 4 teams, 1 Eastern Conference team is involved. Okay? Dusty goes on to say that team is for sure getting stronger. All right? Besides that, 3 Western Conference teams also involved. Okay? And there's draft capital involved, and there are multiple Spurs players involved. Dusty does not use a name, but he says the one, and I'm paraphrasing here, the one that the Kings were really high on, not involved. So we are pretty sure we know who that is, okay? But 1 Eastern Conference team, 3 Western Conference teams, draft capital involved as well, multiple Spurs players involved as well. If the Eastern Conference team is getting stronger, they must be getting something from one of the Western Conference teams. The Kings, not sure what exactly they're getting back as far as capital versus players. Obviously, there's money that you got to make work as well. And the Spurs obviously getting De'Aaron Fox. So that just came to us, and shout out Dusty. We are going to try to get Dusty on when we can, probably early next week. We'll see what happens with this whole thing. And my phone still continuing to heat up. And now, yeah, I'm getting texts that this thing is heating up. This thing it has swayed. And again, it's all a leverage play. This is swayed from this morning. You know what? We're not going to move. We don't want to move De'Aaron. Oh, wait. Hold on. We not so fast. Let's get some other teams involved here. So that's what's happening here as the Kings have a game tomorrow. They still have a game tomorrow. But between one unnamed source that I'll keep unnamed, saying that actually this thing is heating up and a deal might get done sooner rather than later. This is what I keep telling y'all. This team was a zombie team. You cannot keep running these dudes out here. Between that and the information we have from Dusty, 1 Eastern Conference team getting stronger, 3 Western Conference teams as well, draft capital involved, multiple Spurs players involved, but not that dude. Okay, no name was used, but not that dude. That is what we are hearing right now. And Kyle is on the phone too. Kyle is working the phone lines. Man, oh man, Kyle. What a day. I have some details I'm not able to report on the air, but yeah, there's momentum building towards a deal. Dusty's information, obviously, he's got his sources over there in San Antonio. Not sure as much confirmation on the Sacramento side, but we're working through it. Just to reiterate, 1 Eastern Conference team, 3 Western Conference teams, players moving in different directions. And as they mentioned, the 4-team framework appears to be kind of the structure that all parties are working with. Obviously, it's not a deal yet, but we're all kind of figuring this out as we go along. There you have it. Steve is saying, so you went from, I don't trust this source to see I told you. No, Steve, that's how you track something down, brother. Okay? That's how you track something down. We hear from the horse's mouth. Uh-huh. That's right. Yeah, we don't have all of it. And by the way, right. And these are all reports. And these are people in San Antonio who are working with an organization that is notoriously tight about what information gets out and to who and to what. So I understand why everyone is,
is running with the smoking gun. But like I talked about on Tuesday with the Fox thing, it's hard to be the person out on the ledge, right? The information is there, but it's hard, and a lot of people probably know privately, but it's hard to be out on the ledge and say this is going to happen. It's why our buddy Dusty, just gave us some information, but he's got a lot he's working through right now just to figure out what developments.
That's right. That's right. I just said, hey, I don't know what's going on here. To be completely honest with you, if I'm being completely honest, Dusty, his name on X is Spurs reporter, and the E are two funny looking E's, right, Kyle? Is this some type of old school E that
Yeah, it looks like if it showed up in a Cam Newton tweet, you wouldn't be surprised.
So that is what threw me off. Kyle said you got to click through. So I did, and that's where we're at. Luke 7 says, how the hell is this team supposed to play against OKC tomorrow? That's why I told you, Luke. Prop talk, save your money. Invest in meme coin or something. Save your money for prop talk, man, because I don't know what in the world is going on. Continuing to get information. Hold on.
We got all sorts of interesting details coming in here. And I don't want to jump the gun here and say, this deal is about to happen. It's definitively no. The Spurs and Kings had been talking. We knew this because Sam Amick reported it yesterday, and Brian Windhorst talked about it this morning, and Jake Fisher talked about the Castle news. Mm-hmm. This has all been conversation. And of course, they're building out the framework for a deal. We just don't know what the other teams are playing a factor in this and who or what is coming back to Sacramento exactly.
David Gross, wait for the facts, then report. What a concept. You're just spreading rumors. David, brother, this is a 4-hour show. So there'd be a lot of silence. What would this last week have been, David? Because I think you're picking and choosing based on what you want to happen and what you don't want to happen. Nobody is reporting on anything. Thank you, Lawrence. Without rumors, there would be no news worth listening to. Come on, David.
Also,
just sit in silence until a deal gets made. Get real, man.
Also, this is pretty concrete journalism. We're putting a name on it.
But if it's not what people want to hear, and this is what a lot of, not just Kings fans, this is what a lot of fans do. If it's what you want to hear, you like it, you believe it. If it's not what you want, I don't want to hear, then just stop. Just stop. Wait till the facts come out. Okay. That sounds like other situations that I don't want to get into right now, but what does that even mean? What does that even mean? They're reports. So when Sham says something, you say, no. You have shows that are on all day long. We're giving you information. You should be thanking us.
And also, we're putting a name. Dusty Garza from San Antonio is the person who said that this is what it's sort of looking like. Obviously, we're trying to work through it with other people too, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
Somebody guessed on the chat. Somebody is trying to guess the teams. Sketch Etch. Heat, Suns, Kings, Spurs. I talk with my boss to see if we can do a giveaway. If somebody nails the 4 teams, if somebody nails the exact deal, if it goes through, right? Players and the teams. Can we do an extra giveaway for that? Because that'd be impressive. If you get the teams, that'd be very impressive. I mean, 2 of them. So if you guess the other 2 teams, that'd be pretty good.
I don't have the information or sources to go public with it. All I can say is that person is not correct. That's the only thing.
Wait, what do you know? What do you know?
I have to tell you in the break.
Well, what do you know? What's
I'm
going on here?
Working on it right now.
Steve says Sacramento, Miami, San Antonio, Utah. Joe said, I didn't even put out a prize yet. Joe says Spurs, Bucks, Kings, Jazz.
Bucks would be weird because what does that mean? Chris Middleton's getting moved now?
Now it's time to party.
For what? For Keldon Johnson? What are we doing here?
Nets, Spurs, Heat, Warriors from Azalea. Huh. Let's not forget, this thing isn't done yet. Let's not forget all United fans out there. Brandon Ayuk. Remember Kyle Shanahan had to run up the stairs? Brandon Ayuk was about to go to Pittsburgh. This thing, And I know I was, what was his name? I know I was giving David some grief, but this thing ain't over until it's literally signed, sealed, delivered. I'm no longer yours. Because Brandon Ayuk was gone. He was gone. And Kyle Shanahan was running up the stairs saying he'll sign the deal. He'll sign the deal. So it ain't over till it's over.
It's also weird how you make the money work because this is how these 4-team trades come about, right? You have the framework for a 2-team deal, and then one team says, okay, if this is how we're going to make the money work, I don't want X player. So then you go to another team and say, hey, do you want X player? And they say, sure, in exchange for Y player. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know how the 4th team gets involved, if that's draft picks or whatever, but you start with the framework, one trade, and then you make a second trade. So the 4-team deal is basically like 3 subsequent trades,
right,
all mixed into one big trade that they can all do at the same time.
Brendan Nunez entering the chat with he is not guessing, but he is saying that somebody on the line who said Spurs, Kings, Bulls, Jazz might be on to something. One more segment. I don't know where the time went, but one more segment. We will have dog segment, and hopefully it's not a sad dog segment, because I know we still got to watch our Sacramento Kings do their thing, even though there's a lot going on, and then we'll hand you over to the drive guys. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I've had my all-electric SUV for a little more than a year, and I continue to love it day after day. In fact, me and my daughter, we were just on vacation not too long ago, and we rented a car while we were on the trip, and my daughter said, Dad, I like your car better. I turned to her and said, honey, you know what? I like it better as well, and I couldn't wait to get back home to my Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. At Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, they are more than just a dealership. They're a partner you can trust throughout the entire ownership of your luxury vehicle. Whether it's a refined C-Class or versatile SUV lineup, your perfect Mercedes-Benz is there waiting for you. Plus, right now, you can enjoy 3.24% APR for up to 72 months on certified pre-owned models on approved credit. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is your trusted partner in luxury and reliability, and they've been doing it for more than 30 years. So head on down right now to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Okay, I have to tell you. I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh,
where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair? What do you mean? Does it not look good? It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret. No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic. Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous. I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going? I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
You can finally follow through with that resolution to get into that Jeep, Ram, Dodge, or Chrysler you've always wanted at Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. It's the place where a handshake still means something, getting you the best deals in town with the best customer experience. See for yourself. They're centrally located right next to Hagen Oaks Golf Course.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Are the Kings trying to let go of De'Aaron Fox? 15 more minutes with ya. Man, oh man, action-packed. If you just now joined us, thank you for joining us. Drive Guys coming up next. No Kings basketball on the court today, but at this point, is anybody even paying attention to that? They got to go to OKC tomorrow. And we did promise to get through the preview. We still have to do dog segment.
Here's the preview. Oklahoma City, really good.
Here's the preview. Oklahoma City, they already smacked Mike Brown's Kings, right? We haven't seen them against Doug Christie's Kings, but Doug Christie's Kings aren't even Doug Christie's Kings anymore. 6th in offensive rating, 1st in defensive rating, 1st in net rating. Since January 1st, 1st in net rating, 5th in offensive rating, 2nd in defensive rating. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been on a tear. And to make matters worse, they just lost to the shorthanded Warriors. No Draymond Green, no Jonathan Kuminga. So they'll be looking to take out their anger on the Sacramento Kings, who walk in kind of like a wounded duck. And if it sounds like I'm really not giving the Kings a chance in this one, maybe I'm trying some reverse psychology, but at the same time, I'm not really giving the Kings a chance in this one. The only chance I give the Kings is if this turns into a De'Aaron showcase and he drops a nice 50 bomb, okay? And you would still need others to score and to do some things. Maybe the Kings have a shot. This is going to be really tough for the Sacramento Kings, not because of the team, even though the roster and the bench needs help, but not even because of that. This is going to be tough simply because of everything going on with the De'Aaron Fox situation. That's how I see it. That's why this thing is going to be really tough for the Kings to overcome. And if they had beat the Sixers, and depending on how they beat the Sixers, maybe I'd be a little bit higher on the possibility of them winning. But after what I watched against the 76ers, there's no reason for me to think that they are able to beat the best team in the league, the second best team in the league.
Well, I'd say the best team in the league. I know it's 1 or 2 or 1A, 1B, or at the very least best team in the West. And I know OKC is coming off the Warriors loss, and it's not the best stretch of basketball for them right now. But in the month of January, Oklahoma City, #1 in net rating.
Yeah.
Top 5 in both offensive and defensive rating. As I mentioned in the last segment, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 39.8 points a game, shooting 52% from the field over the last 6 games. Oh, and by the way, I know we talked about the Kings defense struggling against the best of the best teams, which you expect, but also like Giannis has historical games against the Kings. Jokic has historical games against the Kings. The last time they played at Golden One Center back in November, SGA, Jalen Williams, both put together, between the two of them, 65 points, which was at the time their combined season high. So the Kings already have not done great against OKC this season. We'll see how they fare tomorrow with everything that's swirling around this situation.
You can't even find a line, and a lot of times it's hard to find lines on games the day before, but you're definitely not going to find one right now with all the De'Aaron Fox stuff going on. 209 says the Kings have zero chance of beating OKC. Zero. In all caps. So look, anything is possible. People still guessing what the four teams are on this trade, and some people were going back and forth in the SAC chat about who we didn't have on, but we had some conversations that we shared on the air from Dusty Garza. The details that Dusty shared and that we shared on the air, those haven't really been confirmed yet about the Eastern Conference team and things like that, even though things are happening every single minute. But Dusty is not the only one. So some of you are, San Antonio this or Dusty that. Dusty is not the only one talking about this right now. This thing is really starting to gain some traction. Now it could all fall through for sure, but he is not the only one reporting on this multi-team deal situation with the Kings and who they may or may not get back.
And in the same breath, we've been talking about it's hard to go out on the ledge with any kind of information like that, especially something as big as that, before it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
And Don Harris, who's the guy we were making the joke about misspelling De'Aaron's name in the tweet.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are just coming to his defense like, hey, 35 years in the market. This guy knows what he's talking about. And he even caveats it like 98% of the time these deals change in structure or fall apart because you're talking about 4 different owners and 4 different general managers and 10 different players. I'm not saying it's 10 players, but a lot of players all having to have their agents agree to this and terms and all of that stuff. So it probably isn't going to happen today. Might not happen tomorrow. But these are people with information, and their reporting and journalism is concrete. And so I appreciate Dusty reaching out to us, but there's all sorts of information out there that is circulating. And these guys have gone out and said, hey, this is what's happening. We've got some details. And on the Spurs side, I mean, it's hard to get information out of the Sacramento Kings. Imagine how hard it is to get information out of the Spurs.
Yeah. So there are a lot of conversations going on right now. And as far as the Spurs are confirmed, if you're not getting Stephon Castle, or if you're not having to give up Stephon Castle, it seems like a win. Obviously, we'd have to know the rest of the trade, but that seems like a win. Okay, Kyle. We're still going to do it. Play it.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Oh. Can you go first, please? We can't do prop talk because the props aren't out yet.
Yeah.
Who is your dog for tomorrow, Kyle?
Let me think here. With all the chaos surrounding this week, can I just say first and foremost, this week, stressful.
Yeah.
Incredibly stressful. I'm about to leave town in a couple hours and just decompress and come back on Monday. However, every urge in my body says that with all the chaos this week and the team thrown in flux and the possibility that we could come back Monday and De'Aaron Fox is no longer a King, I really, 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 really want to just have a Doug McDermott 8-3-pointer game.
Man.
Taste me how to Doug. Taste me, haste me how to
Now is not the time.
Taste me, haste me how to Doug.
Everybody love me. Everybody love me.
That is the one thing you can count on, Doug making shots when the game is out of hand already.
I want it so badly, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I gotta do it, man. It's
played with right now. De'Aaron Fox is not to be played with right now.
Well, will he be playing?
I believe yes. Either way, I've picked dogs who don't play before, but it's all De'Aaron Fox game. It's got to be a De'Aaron Fox game. And
are you serious?
I'm just saying, like, last game as a Sacramento King going out. What am I supposed to do here, Alan? Pick Keegan Murray again?
So who do you have, Doug or
I've got to go De'Aaron Fox. I just wanted to make the Doug joke because he's my dog always. But yeah, De'Aaron Fox. Let's say De'Aaron Fox is going to have either a 35-point game where he takes 30 shots, or he's going to shoot like 60% from the field and have like 28.
I'm going to go with Malik Monk. Malik is the only guy I know. He'll show up no matter what. All right. Drive Guys up next. What a week, but we want to thank all of you for tuning in. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been listening, we really appreciate you continuing to support us. Like I said, Drive Guys up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson. Thank you to Kyle Ledbetter. Thank you to everyone that we had on this week, as we hope that it's not a goodbye, but if it is, we figure out the next steps and continue to secure the bag and light the beam.
Gotta go.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Hey, I got you something. What's this? Just a little Galentine's gift from JTV.
Do you mean jewelry television?